The following is a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Dallas set 4 players inside the 6-yard box. RSL keys the runs from around the penalty spot. They run towards the near post. Luna whips it in, headed away by Ibiaga. That's what he's in there to do. And now Sarver going the other way. Sarver splits 3 defenders. He's all alone into the RSL half. Here's Sam Sarver at full stretch. Sarver to seal it!
FC Dallas's Leagues Cup journey has been overwhelmingly positive so far, including a 1-0 win this past Saturday away from Texas against Mexican giant Chivas. With 2 wins, 6 points, and a chance to qualify for the Leagues Cup knockout stages, Dallas's task only gets harder tonight. The Bird make a trip to Mexico to face another Mexican powerhouse in Toluca. The Scarlets won both the Apertura and Clausura of Liga MX in 2025, and are the reigning CONCACAF Champions Cup winners, beating Tigres back in May. Dallas faces their toughest test in years tonight at Estadio Nemesio Diez, taking on Toluca FC. Along the lines of the FC Dallas Radio Network, it is the FC Dallas pregame show presented by our local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. On tonight's presentation, we'll have the sounds of tonight's match. Our commentary team for the evening, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis, will join me to break down tonight's lineups, tactics, everything you need to know about this crucial Leagues Cup matchup tonight for the Burn. And speaking of, we go ahead and bring in Steve Davis for a look at the major headlines ahead of tonight's major matchup. Steve, these are the games you do it for. For all those Wednesdays in St. Louis, with all due respect to St. Louis and all those spare nights, these are the big games, the ones you really get hyped up for.
Hey, howdy, Sam. Sorry about that, St. Louis, catching a stray up there. Good to be with you here on a potentially really big night for FC Dallas. Going to be a tough one for sure, but what an opportunity.
And it's pretty much for Dallas, win and you're in, the way the table has gone. If they can get 9 points, there is no scenario where they can't advance. And that's about as much as you could ask for. In fact, I think you could argue, Steve, going into this tournament, might even be a little bit more than you probably should have reasonably asked for from this squad.
Yeah, I mean, I think a penalty kick, 2 points, probably gets them there. Not ridiculously far-fetched to say a draw and then a penalty kick loss might even get them there. But you make a good point. I think they've already done something semi-special here in this tournament with 2 wins against Liga MX sides, including one up in the Bay Area, where it was allegedly a neutral ground, but it wasn't.
And, we all have eyes.
Yeah, we do. And, so they've already done something a little special. And now tonight they have the opportunity to put a very special cherry on this cake.
Well, the lineup charged with getting it started at least: Jonathan Sirois in net, Shaq Moore, Osazi Urguide, Nolan Norris, Herman Johansson, Ramiro, Kaique, and Bernie Kamungo, Joaquin Valiente, Logan Farrington, and Petter Musa. And Steve, considering the injuries and any other factors, this is pretty much the strongest lineup that Eric Quill has available to him right now, is it not?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess you could argue, Shaq at right back over Herman Johansson, or Santi Marino maybe instead of Logan Farrington, something like that. But, yeah, what you can't argue is that Eric Quill is really going for it here. Yes, they are potentially sacrificing some level of performance in an important Major League Soccer League match coming up in just a few days down in Austin. But there's no choice here. There's no choice to be made. I mean, they, as I said, they've put themselves in this position. They have earned this opportunity with 2 good wins over Liga MX teams, and absolutely everybody, including his own players, his own staff, would be disappointed if he didn't field the very strongest lineup possible.
I think he rightly said, we'll worry about later. Let's worry about what's in front of us right now. And a couple big pieces of that starting in the midfield. Ramiro back starting after he returned against Chivas in the midweek. Or I guess Saturday. This feels midweek. I don't know what day it is anymore.
It was only 1 week ago that they started this tournament. It feels like it was about 3 weeks ago.
It does, and that was when Ramiro made his return. He started against Chivas. He's starting again tonight. And I guess based on basic soccer progression, we would think he's got 60, but no matter how much time he's out there, in this environment against this level of team, they're going to need the Capitao to have just one of his better games.
I guess he's got 60 in him. We'll see. I mean,
we're
going to talk about the special circumstance of the stadium in a minute, I'm sure.
Yes.
But the other thing is the game was just the other night. There's a long travel. It's a long reach to get down there. They're out on the West Coast, so he's not sleeping in his own bed. Who knows how much any of these guys have in them tonight. We know they will be up emotionally for the job. Physically, is where you have the questions.
Well, one guy that if I had to place a small wager on, he will have 90 in him. That's Osaze Urugide, who returns to the lineup tonight. He featured late in the Chivas game as they were trying to lock it down. He gets the start tonight alongside Norris and Shaq Moore. And, again, I think I said this on the build-up the other day, but I reiterate, this feels like an Osaze game. These are the games it feels like you bring a guy with this mentality and this skill level in for.
We've had discussions about whether or not he's the best defender ever wear an FC Dallas shirt. So I think every game is an Osaze game. I happen to, but you make a good point in that this is where you really need him. And look, he replaces Ibeagha, who I think has been just rock solid this year, as they use him just a little bit less, let him stay fresh. But definitely Osaze Urugide provides a little bit more bite. He definitely provides more athleticism, absolutely more speed. He's got some international experience from having played overseas. So does Shaq Moore, by the way, as he played in Spain for a while. So it's going to be important to have those things, and it's in what promises to be a charged atmosphere, and certainly it is important to have your best defender on the field.
And that said, there is a lot of miles on a lot of these guys. I'm looking at guys like Musa, Valiente, Johansson, Kamungo, Norris. There's a decent amount, and obviously we'll talk a little bit about the grand scheme of that, but that probably means tonight one of the most important things Eric Quill's going to have to judge is using his substitutions, because that's going to be, if the team is rolling well, you're like, I don't want to bring anybody on, but with the way that the atmosphere is, the literal atmosphere, by the way, not we're talking about the crowd, and just combined with the fitness, that's going to be a tricky puzzle for him.
Yeah, for sure. This is usually where I would say something like, well, don't forget that Toluca's played a lot of games over a short stretch in this tournament as well, except that they made 8 changes from the first game into the second game the other night. So their players are a little bit more rested. And then the big X factor here that I think you're getting at, subs being more critical than ever. Not only the short rest, but the fact that they're playing at 8,700 feet. By comparison, we always talk about the atmosphere in thin air in Denver. That's 5,000 feet. And so 8,700 feet, just think about that. I'll give you a little science lesson, Sam. It's not that you're getting less oxygen in that thin air. It has to do with the pressure and the ability to deliver oxygen. So you get less oxygen is reaching those working muscles. And what happens is that you can still sprint. But your recovery systems, because you get less oxygen, they don't work as efficiently, and you actually use a different energy system. You can make the first sprint. It's the 5th sprint. It's the 10th sprint. It's the 20th sprint. That's where that recovery becomes almost impossible. The heart and lungs have to work a little harder, so it's going to be a real challenge playing in the thin air up there. And, yes, subs are going to be even more important than usual.
And that's something we'll talk about in our third segment, because that's going to affect one very specific part of FC Dallas' game. Eat your heart out, Bill Nye. Steve Davis is here coming for the science guy job there based off that. But let's talk about Toluca, because there's no doubt they are the elite of the elite in CONCACAF. They are the reigning CONCACAF Cup winners. They've got Liga MX titles under their belt under their current manager, Antonio Mohamed. Now, one thing Dallas does have going for them, arguably their best player, Paulinho, will not feature in this one. He scored 18 goals in last year's Liga MX campaign, but he's got a calf injury, so they're sitting him for the entirety of the League's Cup group stage. They'll worry about that when they have to. But it doesn't really matter if he's in there, because you look up and down the roster, you look at how they rotated midweek. This is going to be just a hellacious matchup for FC Dallas in every single way.
Yeah, it's a big challenge. And by the way, ask Seattle if they think Toluca missed having that guy, missed having Paulinho, because they put almost 40 shots against Seattle without him. So they're not missing him that much. Alexis Vega is the big name. He's a Mexican international, second striker, creator. Starts left, but he drifts centrally a lot underneath the striker. He's definitely the straw that he stirs their attacking drink. Federico Vinas, he's got a very different profile from Vega. He's strong and physical. He runs the channels. Gives him a genuine number 9 reference. Jesus Gallardo, left back, wing back. We talked about him on the build-up, which everybody should be listening to, I hope. How he was just this beast against Seattle, just filled up the box score. Helenio, a right winger who wants to cut inside. He's a left-footed right winger. They're absolutely stacked up and down the lineup, but especially in the attack.
I see what you did there with Viñas and stirring the drink, vineyards. That's the cleverness we tend to expect there from Steve.
I didn't mean that, but thank you for the credit.
So I'm always going to give you credit. This is a team. We got to lift each other up. But that is Steve Davis. You'll hear him alongside Ryan Figert on the call tonight of this critical, crucial, ginormous FC Dallas match. And, of course, he'll join Ryan and myself in our third segment. Steve, thank you as always.
You're welcome.
When we return here on the FC Dallas pregame show, we'll have the sounds of this week's match. This is FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
You push your body hard in the name of fitness. Sure, it's for a good cause. But a good cause shouldn't mean sacrificing a good time. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here!
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
Want to hear something incredible?
The treatments are over, the infusions are done. Now you can get back to all the kid fun. We'll miss you lots, but you'll be happy to know chemo is over, so it's time to go.
At Children's Health, we're making groundbreaking advancements in cancer treatments every day to bring more healing and more hope to families. Innovative treatments filled with hope. That's incredible together. Learn more at childrens.com.
When you don't compromise on the court, you shouldn't compromise off of it either. Lose the calories, not the taste. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Copyright 2024.
Winner, winner, Chick-fil-A dinner. All season long, when FC Dallas wins at home, fans win free Chick-fil-A. Be sure your Chick-fil-A app is up to date and location services are turned on when you attend matches at Toyota Stadium. After the team wins, before you leave your seats, open the app to redeem the Chick-fil-A offer. Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network. In our next segment, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis will join me to break down the lineups and tactics for tonight's Leagues Cup showdown. But first, let me tell you about the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed, available anywhere you get great free podcasts. It's anchored by the FC Dallas postgame show, now in its 5th year of podcasting. Highlights, stats, analysis, everything you need about the game that was in just around 30 minutes or so. Although with these Leagues Cup matches getting bigger and bigger, more and more important, they might go a little bit long, but that's just because we want to super serve you, the FC Dallas supporter. The postgame show goes live shortly after the final whistle on the radio network and then is available shortly after on the podcast feed for your enjoyment whenever you so choose. Meanwhile, it's Season 2 of the FC Dallas Agenda, the official FC Dallas podcast this year. Ryan, Garrett, and Steve bring you extended analysis, great interviews, everything you need to know about your favorite MLS team. Those episodes tend to drop on Wednesdays during the season, but can be moved when we have busy match weeks like this. And also if we have big news such as a signing, a departure, anything like that. So just keep your eyes on the podcast feed for when you see the FC Dallas Agenda. And just this season, we've debuted the Build Up, our FC Dallas game preview show. It's myself and a couple members of the radio team talking through the injury report, lineup concerns, opposing storylines, wins and loss if, all sorts of key matchups, whatever you need for the game that's upcoming, and about a nice 20-minute package that drops the day before the next match. So how do you get all this great content? Go to your podcast provider of choice, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Type in FC Dallas Radio Network and then hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our great free content. Now let's get you to the sounds of tonight's match, and those are featuring Dallas manager Eric Quill and defender
Stadium against a good team, so we're up for it. I'm excited for it, and we'll try to get the guys up, which shouldn't be that hard because it's already a hostile environment. But definitely looking forward to it against a really good team. Yeah, we know it's going to be a tough game, man. They've signed a few good players on the last couple of years, like you said, during the successful run that they've had. So I think first and foremost we got to weather the storm. We know it's going to be hard, and then match your intensity, right? Once you get into these environments, you can't fault that. So. But yeah, I think if you stick to a good game plan that I'm sure the coaches will draw up for us, I think they'll be fine. So big game for all of us, but yeah, these are the games that we play for.
When we return on the FC Dallas pregame show, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis join me to help break down tonight's lineup and tactics. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games, plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
God, I'm saying wow.
This is Logan Farrington, striker for FC Dallas. Behind every goal, there's a team you don't always see. The ones keeping everything running, secure, connected, ready. That's General Informatics. From cybersecurity to smarter IT solutions, General Informatics powers FC Dallas with advanced technology support so we can stay focused on the game. General Informatics. Complex IT made simple.
Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. We've got about 20 minutes from kickoff at Estadio Nemesio Diez. Now let's go ahead and get into the starting lineups for tonight's matchup. And those starting lineups are brought to you this evening by AdvoCare. We'll start first with the home side Toluca FC and second-year manager Antonio Mohamed. It's Luis Garcia in net tonight for the Scarlets, Brian Garcia, Bruno Mendez, Federico Pereira, and Jesus Gallardo on the back line. Eric Gutierrez and Franco Romero in the midfield tonight for Toluca. Helino, Jorge Diaz, and Captain Alexis Vega support Federico Viñas up top tonight for the Sausage Makers, in addition to the Red Devils and the Scarlets. Now let's get you the starting lineup for FC Dallas and second-year manager Eric Quill.
Jonathan Sirois, goalkeeper, Montreal, Canada.
Shaq Moore, right back, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Osaze Origide, centre back, Netherlands, Nijmegen.
Nolan Norris, midfielder, Fort Worth, Texas.
Herman Johansson, wingback, Sweden.
Ramiro Benetti, midfielder, Brazil.
Kaique, midfield, Brazil.
Bernard Camungo, I'm a winger, and I'm from Abilene, Texas.
Joaquín Valiente, mediocampista, Uruguay.
Logan Farrington, striker, Racine, Wisconsin.
Petar Musa, forward, from Zagreb, Croatia.
And the subs tonight for Dallas, Lalo Sabubakar, Ron Benjamin, Santi Moreno, Christian Kappas, Nick Simmons, Alvaro Augusto, Sebastian Biaga, Caleb Swan, Sam Sarver, Michael Collodi, and Clay Holstad. Now let's before we bring in our commentary team, in fact, actually let's go down to Toluca, Mexico, and our own Garrett Melser, who spoke with center back Osaze Urigide.
What's up, guys? I'm here with Osaze Urigide. We're walking on the field right now at Estadio Nemesio Diez, otherwise known as El Infierno, which is hell. Osaze, you played in a lot of stadiums all in Europe and here across the U.S. How does this one compare?
Yeah, it's a nice stadium. Reminds me of kind of like a QPR stadium where the fans are very compact to the pitch. So we're definitely going to feel the fans today, and it's going to be a really nice atmosphere.
Their atmosphere is famous all around Mexico. It's going to be loud. It's going to be vibrant in here. As a player, when you're on the field in the game, how do you handle playing against that when it feels like the stadium's all around you?
Well, you probably feel it at the start, but sometimes you kind of zone out in terms of like the fans, and you kind of don't feel it. But you do feel it with the reaction, and I think it's part of the game, really. So sometimes it's just you block it out by just playing wise, but you always feel it.
Another element to this game is the elevation. We're about a little over 8,000 feet. That was a big talking point when England went to play Mexico in the World Cup. How does that impact your approach, knowing that it's a little tougher to breathe up here?
I choose not to really think about it too much, really, to be honest. I'm just going to try play, and less I think about it, less it'll probably affect me, so that's all right.
You guys will advance to the next stage, the knockout stage in Leagues Cup with a win. how important would that be? What would it mean to you guys winning here in Toluca against a really, really good team?
Well, that'll be it's another opportunity to win a trophy, so going to the next round, and it's all to play for. So we're really trying to win a trophy this year, so this is a really great opportunity.
Osaze, thank you so much. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Back to you guys.
Big thanks to Garrett, who's down in Toluca tonight. Big thanks to Osaze as well. I'm not totally sure that's how blood oxygen works. If you just don't think about it, it'll be fine. But I mean, I'm not. Who am I to doubt him? He's a little bit more experienced at this than I am. But speaking of folks that are a little bit more experienced than I am, let's bring in Ryan Figert and Steve Davis, the commentary team for tonight's game. And Ryan, this has big fight feel to it. Like if you're not feeling a little on edge, as a supporter, as even like people like us who are going to be calling it, I think you're doing it a little wrong because these are the games you really kind of live for.
Yeah, and I think this is what this competition has been crying out for, is getting games in Mexico and giving it that big game feel, getting in front of the Mexican audience, and particularly, this stadium in Toluca that is famous for its atmosphere and for the fan support. It's nicknamed El Infierno or La Bombonera, these nicknames that are all come from the passion of the fans, but also the way they built the stadium to really bring the noise on top of the field. It's going to be a big factor tonight, and that stage really sets the scene for what could be a huge opportunity for this club to go down and get a famous win.
And, Steve, Osaze mentioned it a little bit, so we'll bring it in here. They're playing a strong lineup, as we've already detailed. But you mentioned about how hard it is to do that 5th sprint, that 10th sprint. Well, the problem is for Dallas, they do a lot of sprinting, and they're pressing and they're counter-pressing. How do you think Dallas can accommodate that, knowing that their normal game plan is going to be a little bit hampered by the literal environment around them?
Yeah, I don't know how much it's going to be hampered. I mean, we know what to expect out of this game. On the road, really anywhere, Dallas is not going to have a lot of the ball. They're going to be able to sit back a little bit more. They just have to be really clever, really wise in the way they use that energy. So I don't know, though. I mean, the atmosphere, the air, the environment. Look, he's built a team of dogs. And if you're a dog, this is exactly where you want to be. You don't mind if you're the smaller dog in the fight. You want to be in a good atmosphere. I say all the time that people talk about like Portland and Seattle being tough places to play. Well, they're tough places to play because, especially in Seattle, they're a good team. But the players, when you ask them, they'll usually say, "Oh, I like playing in that place. I like the fans. I like the atmosphere there." Just like Osaze just said. So I think some of that stuff might get a little overblown.
Yeah, if you're not excited to play in something like this, I probably don't want you playing in this. That's probably something Eric Quill believes as well. And, we're looking at the perfect pairings up top tonight. Ryan Musa and Farrington will be joined by Joaquin Valiente. And, obviously Logan scored the winner against Chivas in tremendous fashion. We're kind of seeing the best of Joaquin Valiente throughout this Leagues Cup tournament. He seems to be kind of finding his higher form here. And they're doing it all without a goal from Pedro Musa yet in this tournament. And it feels like when the lights are brightest, when it feels like they need it the most, this could be the game that Pedro Musa pops off if he's going to do it.
Yeah, I like how they've set up in the attack tonight, and obviously building off of the confidence for Valiente and Farrington, who have already scored in the first 2 games. Musa going so close in both games, but particularly in that Chivas game when he struck the post on an empty net. So he'll be extra motivated to get on the score sheet for the first time in this Leagues Cup. And in these big moments, in these big games, you need your biggest players. And for Dallas, that's their number 9 to step up, have that moment, and give the team belief that they can do it on the road.
And you can kind of go straight down the center, Steve, when it comes to important players, because as we mentioned, Ramiro is back. He is starting tonight, something that we weren't totally sure about when Leagues Cup started, whether it would happen or not, but he's back in tonight. And it's going to be important for a couple reasons. One, the team is just better physically when he's in there. They play better. But 2, it's probably going to get a little chippy out there at times. It's probably going to get really loud with the fans out there. So having that calming influence that he can do both on the field and in the mind, however long he's out there for, is going to be super critical for this Dallas squad.
Well, all of that. Plus, I just think communication is so important because of the way Toluca combines at the top of the penalty area, the way they interchange. the communication that we always talk about with Kaique that's so important in the middle. So when I think about Ramiro and why he is important tonight in particular, I think it's about communication and keeping things organized in the midfield.
And as we get a look into Estadio Nemesio Diez with our feed that we call the game off of here in Frisco, it is spectacular. It's a light show before the game. They do it better in terms of pregame presentation and atmosphere than really anybody that I've seen across North America. Right now they've got all the fans using their phones as lights, and you've got lights flashing across the entire stadium. This is going to be a terrific environment as fireworks go off the roof. And there are a few players in this Dallas 11 that have played in environments like this, and one of them is Ramiro. He's played in Copa Libertadores in these big matchups in Brazil and against Argentina, and playing in a final of a Copa Libertadores. That absolutely dwarfs this game in terms of significance. So one player who they can rely on in terms of experience in a team that doesn't have a ton of it outside of him. Shaq Moore playing at a World Cup, Petar Musa obviously playing at a World Cup and playing at a high level in Europe. But you've got some guys that haven't stepped into a stadium like this before, and they can look to guys like Ramiro when they step out into such an environment.
I'm super excited for new Toyota Stadium, but is it too late to give them a couple pictures here and be like, hey, I know it's kind of late in the game, but can we add some of these ideas? Because this is both fearsome and also incredibly cool.
I've always wondered, though, why doesn't somebody in Major League Soccer replicate that La Bombonera down in Argentina, or this model where they take one stand and basically go straight up?
Yeah, it definitely, and a little sneak peek, but for our FC Dallas Agenda podcast, I've been working on a sort of a specific Toyota Stadium renovation episode, and something, that Nick Schaefer, who's the VP of the stadium operations, said is the goal for the new Toyota Stadium is to feel like an embrace, and that all sides of the stadium really bring you in and hold that atmosphere in, and, that's the sort of environment they're trying to create. But Toluca, Estadio Nemesio Diez is the model in that.
Yeah, look for something for that later this week. Probably after the FC Dallas Agenda proper drops sometime this week. And, speaking of players, they're going to have big task in front of them tonight, Ryan. The wingbacks, and specifically Herman Johansson, because Johansson is probably going to be the matchup for Alexis Vega, who is incredibly talented. He's the captain. He is the absolute just stalwart of this team with Paulinho, the leading scorer, out. He's pretty much their best player. And we've seen Herman, not quite on the level of someone like Valiente level up, but he has shown a lot more competency, a lot more of what they brought him in for from the Swedish top division. Well, he gets his big test tonight against someone who is a bona fide, electrified, big-time player in Alexis Vega.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if that is really the matchup or if it's more him against Jesus Gallardo, who's sort of a fullback in this shape, but he's really a wingback. He gets up and down the field on that left side. But those are the two players in this Toluca side that represented Mexico at the World Cup. Those are their real star players, Gallardo and Vega. And so that left side in general is going to be high-powered, and I think that's why Eric Quill made sure to start Joaquin Valiente in this game. We know that he sticks to his task defensively. He does the hard yards, and he's going to help Herman on that side. And then as well, the right-sided center back, who is likely to be Shaq Moore tonight, is going to have to be in those 1v1 matchups with Vega, who kind of drifts inside off the left wing. So all three of those Dallas players up against a really high-powered left side for Toluca.
And on the other side of the defense, Steve, we've got Nolan Norris getting another start tonight. I would expect him to go 90 since he is yellow card suspended against Austin on Sunday. But, of course, we'll worry about Sunday when we get to Sunday. But he's going to have a big enough task, too, because this is probably going to be, outside of, international play, the biggest, non-international game he's ever been in. But everything we've seen from him in this tournament, in this season, shows he's up for the task tonight.
Well, we're being purposefully myopic on this one because we're talking about this big match tonight. But in the big picture for Nolan Norris, this is a game that he will have plenty of these as his career moves forward, barring some kind of bad injury that we want to talk about. So he's got to learn to handle these games, and nothing about Nolan's personality tells me that he won't be able to handle it tonight. You never know until you know, but this is just another, in the big picture, another stage in his development.
And it's also a showcase game, too. Mm-hmm. This is one of two games that really has significance on the MLS side of the League's Cup bracket. So there's going to be eyes from across the league, across the nation on this one, and, of course, the international audience as well. He's going to have the opportunity, as does everybody in a Dallas shirt tonight, to really take this by storm and announce yourself onto a bigger stage.
Well, before we get to our keys to the match, Ryan, we could spend probably hours talking about what Toluca brings, and we have a little bit. But just the environment here is going to be its own challenge before you even look at the 11. They play at the Elevation. We've already talked about that. We expect to sell out tonight. Judging by the pictures we're getting, that looks pretty close. If it's not completely sold out, it's darn near. but it's also just an incredibly tough environment, an incredibly tough team. I've got it written here. It's a steaming cauldron of hate waiting for FCD tonight as they walk onto the pitch.
Yeah, I think it's nice that they've sort of taken a step and then a step and then a step in this Leagues Cup journey so far. They had a friendlier confines of Mansfield Stadium. Then they go on the road. It's not to Chivas, but it's to a Chivas pro-Chivas crowd in San Jose, and now they go into hell. This is the biggest possible stage for a game like this, and the environment's going to be electric. They're up against a high-powered team, the 12-time champions of Mexico and the reigning CONCACAF Champions League holders. So you can't ask for more. In terms of a matchup, you can't ask for more. Go out there and prove yourself. Play with opportunity, not expectation. This is sort of, you've done your job. You've gotten 6 points, and now you can really go and do something special.
They're looking to walk into El Inferno backwards tonight and hopefully come out with at least 3 points, maybe 2 at the worst case. But let's get you to tonight's keys to the match. Those are presented by Toyota, and those also presented by Steve Davis.
Thank you, Sam. Number one is something we talked about a minute ago, defensive communication. Toluca players interchange constantly. Vega comes inside. Helinho cuts in. Gallardo overlaps. The midfielder joins on. It goes. The back line. If communication isn't picking up runners, passing them off, passing off through zones, etc., FC Dallas is going to have a tough time tonight. Number two is ruthless in the transition moments. There will be times when Gallardo will get caught up a little high. Maybe another defender is up the field. A midfielder is pushed into the 18. These will be the moments where, there won't be many of them, but these will be the moments when they have to be crisp. They have to find Musa, and then they'll have to make the right choices on the break from there. And then number three is something Ryan just talked about. Play the game, not the moment. That's what we say, right? It can't be a lot, the thin air, the raucous atmosphere, talented, desperate team. They need a win tonight or they won't go through. But there's opportunity there for your own club. And FC Dallas, they have been in big atmospheres before. We talked about Portland and Seattle. Those places are no picnic. The LAFC's 3252 section can leave a mark. So they've done big games before. They just have to go in and enjoy it, be brave, and not be undone by the atmosphere. Those are your keys presented by Toyota.
Thank you, Steve Davis. It's win and in if you're Dallas. If you win straight out, that's 3 points and you're guaranteed advancement. Even a penalty shootout win likely sends Dallas through, barring, I believe, some sort of just tremendous chaos tonight and tomorrow. But take care of business tonight, and you are through to the knockout round of the Leagues Cup. But that's going to do it for tonight's pregame show. We will take a break, and when we come back, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for kickoff. It's FC Dallas. It's Toluca at Estadio Nemesio Diez. This is FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games, plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
God, I'm saying wow.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care.
The treatments are over, the infusions are done. Now you can get back to all the kid fun. We'll miss you lots, but you'll be happy to know chemo is over, so it's time to go.
At Children's Health, we're making groundbreaking advancements in cancer treatments every day to bring more healing and more hope to families. Innovative treatments filled with hope. That's incredible together. Learn more at childrens.com.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern. The future of medicine sparks here.
Estadio Nemesio Diez, La Bombonera de Toluca is the venue as FC Dallas clashes with the reigning CONCACAF champions, Toluca FC. Led by a resolute defensive unit, Eric Quill's side has taken the first 2 tests of this tournament in stride, but the path to silverware begins in hell tonight as they face one of the toughest matchups in the 30-year history of the club, with a spot in the quarterfinals on the line in Leagues Cup. Ryan Figert alongside Steve Davis with Garrett Melser on the sidelines in Toluca tonight. We thank you for tuning in for the local broadcast here across the FC Dallas radio network. And Steve, these opportunities don't come around often for the club. This is just the 3rd time they've played in Mexico in a competitive game, and they've won once. In fact, they were the first MLS team to ever win a game competitively in Mexico. That came back in 2011. They also had the CONCACAF Champions League semifinal loss to Pachuca in 2017, and now nearly a decade later, it's an opportunity and a spot in the quarterfinals awaiting. Yeah, for sure. And look, if this was an opportunity to get into the quarterfinals of the Leagues Cup with a win over, Juarez or something like that, or Querétaro, it would be one thing. But this is an opportunity to get in with a win against one of the best teams historically in Mexico. So what an opportunity it is. It's the 12-time champions Toluca playing host tonight, and as I mentioned, they're the reigning CONCACAF Champions League winners, and they did so by absolutely mauling MLS opposition along the way. Their home results against MLS teams 4-0, 4-2, 4-0, and 3-0 so far this year as Dallas heads into the Lions' den. Led by their captain Ramiro out onto the field for the national anthems moments ago, either side of the referees, who tonight are Walter Lopez of Guatemala, assisted by Quetzal Corrales and Jose de Silva. The VAR is Eric Miranda of Mexico. And by the way, we've talked up Toluca a lot tonight, and it's going to be tough out there. But look, Dallas is coming up on 300 minutes without conceding a goal. I mean, that's pretty darn good, too. And so, if the other team can't score, they can't win. It's handshakes right now between the two sides at the halfway line. The crowd has gathered at El Infierno down in Toluca, and they await a must-win matchup for their side as well, Steve. It hasn't been quite the high watermark on the Liga MX side. Of course, they play a lot of their games on the road, not so the case tonight. But 6 points will likely do it for Toluca, and for Dallas, a regulation win, 9 points means they're going through as well. Yeah, last night it looked a little bit, before the matches kicked off in Leagues Cup, it looked a little more grim for Toluca. Basically, they needed a couple of teams not to get the full points last night, or not to get the points they needed, and that happened. And so they're coming in tonight saying, hey, here it is. Whereas we thought we were going to walk in hoping things happen. Well, they're walking in knowing, no, we win, we're in. Dallas on this 12-game road odyssey. This is game 8 before they finally return home on September 5th. Maybe even squeeze a Leagues Cup quarterfinal in there and add a 13th road game or something like that if things go well here tonight. Toluca, for all the trophies they've added to the cabinet over the last couple of seasons under Antonio Mohamed, the one that they still lack is Leagues Cup. They've made it out of the group stage in each of the 3 previous seasons, but they've never advanced past the quarterfinals on any of those occasions. Dallas, of course, with their best finish back in 2023, the famous round of 16 exit against Lionel Messi and Inter Miami. A win tonight puts them in the quarterfinals, and it immediately becomes their best ever finish in the competition. We've talked about FC Dallas, tough stretch. We keep talking about it, but actually tonight we haven't sort of gotten granular on it. This is the 4th match in 13 days for FC Dallas, stretch of 7 matches in 23 days, starting back on August 1st, and there was or will be travel between each one. So, and it's at the hottest time of the year as when they make their way back into Texas for training. It's a brutally tough stretch. Just 56 degrees tonight in Toluca, Mexico, but it is played at 8,700 awesome. Feet at Estadio Nemesio Diez as the two teams break their huddles either side of halfway. It'll be Toluca in their home crimson uniform with white piping down the sides. The goalkeeper, Luis Garcia, wears an all-green uniform, and they'll move from right to left from our vantage point in the first half. Dallas continues in their UT Southwestern gray kit with red accents down the sides. Jonathan Sirois keeping his place in net, in an all-blue uniform, riding that long shutout streak that you mentioned, Steve. He's been excellent so far in this tournament, and if they're going to get anything out of El Infierno tonight, he's going to have to be on the top of his game.
I think so, but we keep saying that, and the truth is that the defense in front of him, defense that's allowed 9 goals in 10 road trips this year, which is excellent. The defense just hasn't made him work that hard. The saves that he's been making haven't been mostly of the spectacular variety. They've been pretty routine.
Referee's final countdown now as he does those last checks. It'll be Dallas's kickoff to start play at Nemesio Diez tonight. Penamusa and Logan Farrington leading the line. It will be Logan Farrington, by the looks of things, to get the ball rolling. Guatemalan referee Walter Lopez puts the whistle to his lips.
He's another FIFA-level referee, which means he's got the experience, and guess we're having a shot right off the bat, huh?
We're underway. Logan Farrington launches the kickoff towards goal, and Garcia will start play in possession for Toluca. They'll build up here through the near side, breaking that first line of pressure and advancing past the halfway line. Dallas getting bodies around the ball, forcing it backwards and back into the Toluca half. Federico Pereira, the left of the center backs tonight, passes across to Bruno Mendez, his center back partner, and they move it backwards once again all the way through to the goalkeeper. 30 seconds gone. Cross to the near sideline. Jesus Gallardo working with Alexis Vega on this near side in the first half. 2 Mexican internationals involved at this summer's World Cup.
They have played 3-4-3, looks like 4-2-3-1 tonight for Toluca.
Out to Helinho on the far wing in the Dallas half. He brings it down under some pressure from Nolan Norris, who's stepped in with a tackle, but the ball breaks back to Helinho to the byline. A right-footed cross is dug out. Plenty of air underneath that one, and it floats behind for a goal kick.
Thought Nolan Norris had won that tackle pretty easily over there, and just kind of got unlucky. Allowed Helinho to get in behind him.
Helinho, the right winger. Viñas, the recent addition for Toluca, leading the line. And Vega off the left for the Red Devils as Jonathan Sirois sets up for the goal kick. The Toluca fans in full voice right behind him, flying the red and white flags as he launches it long, well past the halfway line and up to the chest of Farrington, who brings it down well, cushioned for Bernard Camungo, lifted up towards the front line. But perhaps the elevation at play there just hangs up in the air for the goalkeeper to come and claim. Toluca from the top of their own box, passing back once again for the experienced goalkeeper Luis Garcia, who lifts it up towards the halfway line, flicked along. And now Viñas looking to turn up against Shaq Moore. And now he'll lift it out towards the near side. Alexis Vega has time and space. Valiente defending as it's a low ball sent in towards the top of the box. Repelled by Uriguide, sliding in. Dallas work it up this near side, now back into the middle for Kaique. Up to Farrington at the halfway line. Heavy touch there, and he turns over possession. Gutierrez in it in the middle of the Dallas half now. Over to Vega, who's passed through the lines, is intercepted by Kaique, but it breaks back once again for Toluca. Combination at the top of the box. Player goes down. Referee waves it away. That was Viñas who went to the turf. And Dallas looked to find a way out. Now it'll be a free kick given to Toluca outside the box.
Well, there's a lot to say there. Logan Farrington with a bad touch to get things going back the other way. Too bad, too, because it looked like Dallas might have had a little something on the break. Got a penalty appeal to talk about. And a Ramiro mistake also in there as Ramiro lost control of the ball. And I thought he was about to make the VAR signal.
Well, it's a referee surrounded by 5 players in the crimson uniform of Toluca. They're looking to set up for the free kick. Really not sure that's a foul on Herman Johansson.
It absolutely was a foul on Herman Johansson.
The other way around,
yes, exactly.
Yes. He was the one barged into, but he's been adjudged to give away a free kick here, and it's in a very dangerous position. So we're 3.5 minutes into this game. Dallas set a 5-player wall with Bernard Camungo laying down beneath it to block the low shot. Vega, Helinho standing over this one. From just left of center for Toluca.
Those fans are right behind Sirois that you hear.
It's rolled over to Vega, who fires a shot into the on-rushing Dallas wall. And they work it clear out towards this near side. All the way back to the goalkeeper for Toluca. The better of the early exchanges here in a home stadium where they've had such a strong advantage internationally and in the league play. Worked out to this near sideline where Gallardo receives it now. It's pass deflected by Valiente, but it breaks kindly for Gutierrez, and Toluca remain in possession in their own defensive third. Played up the far sideline. Nolan Norris able to step in front and knock it out off of Helinho last for a throw in right at the halfway line. Ball breaks for Toluca in the center circle, driving across to the near side. It's Vega now at the top of the box. Vega looking for the slip pass, and it continues to deflect Toluca's way. Over to Helinho, inside the box on the far side. Runners in the area, fired through to the top of the 6. Repelled by Shaq Moore, and the referee has given a penalty here.
I was watching the ball roll back across. I didn't see what happened.
Well, there was a Toluca player down, but it was away from where the ball was directed, and I agree, I didn't spot it really. Taking a look at a replay now. Helinho with the low ball in. Urguide sliding, comes through the back of Viñas. It's just not a penalty you see given away from the ball. Maybe it's a foul.
I mean, looking at the replay, I didn't see him touch the ball, and he did take the player out.
Well, Jonathan Sirois, here's your spotlight moment. A penalty save already in his Dallas career against San Jose before the World Cup break.
I mean, it's kind of the fear that you have, you know, in an atmosphere like this. Not that you're maybe undone by it, but that you're a little overhyped by it all. And I think that's what we had there with Osaze. I'm not sure he needed to make the challenge in that way.
Gallardo passes the ball now to the Toluca captain, Alexis Vega. Scored a penalty already early in this season for the Red Devils. He kisses the ball and sets it 12 yards away from goal. And Jonathan Sirois riding a 300-minute shutout streak into this game. 25 saves since the ball last hit the net. Here's his biggest moment in the Dallas shirt so far. A deep breath for Vega. Stands right on the top of the 18-yard box, and a long pause now. Shuffles over to his left. Staring down the goalkeeper on the approach. Vega scores, going to his left. As Sirois dives the opposite way, and Toluca take the early advantage.
Well, he certainly made Sirois wait a while. Took the deep breath, like you said, and put it low left, right into the side net. Sirois going the other way, nothing he could do about it.
So, Alexis Vega from the penalty spot gives Toluca the lead at Nemesio Diez tonight, and the task just got all the more difficult for FC Dallas. Sirois diving to his left, Vega going the opposite way, and the fans who have been in full voice behind that goal able to celebrate with their captain, a Toluca boy born and bred. And now it's over to Dallas to respond inside 10 minutes. And now driving forward through the middle, Herman Johansson pokes it ahead to Musa inside the 18. Musa goes down with a challenge from behind. Now Kaike lines up a shot, deflected, and it spills past the goalkeeper and in. And Dallas have leveled things immediately with the Pitbull strike from distance.
Well, that's a big turn of events. You're just thinking that, as you said, the task just got a lot bigger. You're thinking Herculean task. It's still big, but just like that, it's a little bit of a scramble in the box as Nolan Norris was bringing it into the final third, made the entry pass, Peter Musa got a little tangled up there, got taken down maybe. Doesn't matter though, because as the ball bounces back out, it goes right to Kaike, who's every bit of 30 yards out as he hits a shot that I don't think was going to be that big a deal for Luis Garcia, the goalkeeper, but it hits the fallen Toluca player.
Oh, it's Musa's goal.
It hits Musa, you're right.
Was he onside?
And yeah, and that's going to be the question now.
It's a moment of quick thinking from Musa, who redirects the shot away from the goalkeeper, who had already dove to his right. And this may be Peter Musa's first Leagues Cup goal in his career. No one tells Kaike. They both went through the celebrations. The goal stands, and Dallas is level. And it's Peter Musa who has them on the score sheet after all.
Yeah, I didn't, on the first replay from up high, it looked like it was the Toluca player. But yeah, on that replay from the back of the goal, it was clearly Peter Musa that just sort of lifted his leg and created the little deflection. I'm not even sure he wasn't trying to get out of the way.
14th of the season for the Dallas number 9, first in his Leagues Cup career. Toluca in possession now into the Dallas half and wide to the far side for Helinho. 1v1 with Kamungo. Gets to his left foot, lifts it in all the way across to Vega, who brings it down just inside the penalty area at the byline on the near side and moves it backwards for Gallardo. Gallardo looking for the return pass from Vega. It's deflected out of play by Johansson. Gutierrez working it backwards to the halfway line. What a psychological swing of emotions within 10 minutes and an already high-powered game here between these two sides, both in need of a win. Dallas winning it back in midfield. Shackmore has on the top of the 18. He's going to lift it ahead. Musa dueling with Pereira. It's Toluca who come away with possession. Helinho drops in off the right wing, halfway into the Dallas half to receive it, working with the right back Brian Garcia. They're working it backwards, being forced back here. Norris stepping high to meet Helinho, who finds a pass into the middle of the field. Gutierrez combining short passes in the center circle. Toluca again will probe on that far side. Helinho immediately closed down by Norris, and that time Helinho knocked it past the Dallas homegrown and won a free kick.
By the way, Ryan, Dallas defending a little bit differently tonight. Usually what they do is defend out of a 5-4-1. Looks like they want Logan Farrington to stay up a little higher. The defensive setup looks more like a 5-3 tonight, 5-3-2. And that'll mean one of those two central midfielders, either Kaike or Ramiro, will have to just cover a little bit more ground across the field to get over there.
Ramiro got a piece of the ball, and then he's covering on Nolan Norris's side as well, lifting it out to the sideline for Kamungo, who's under pressure, cuts in field, finds the ball into midfield for Kaike. He's closed down by 3, gives it away, and now a shot from distance is blocked by Shackmore, spinning out towards Norris, who retrieves it, and will send it long.
A little bit of naivete there from Kaike, the young player. So much talent, covers so much ground, but trying to dribble out of pressure there at the top of the 18, his own 18.
Toluca win it back and now bring it past the halfway line once again. Over on this left side, Gallardo making his way forward. Shackmore is able to slide and put it out of play.
Herman Johansson going to be called for a foul here, I think. Not sure if Walter Lopez would just award the throw in at basically the same place.
Well, they've taken it short in any case. Rushing back at the halfway line with Toluca. Now coming forward with the ball, Bruno Mendez, the right center back. On to Garcia, wide on the right. Ball in towards the top of the box. Viñas looking to turn. Uriguide just about able to get positioning, and then he goes down and wins a free kick. Having conceded the penalty early in this game, I was a little bit concerned with his initial positioning there up against the Uruguayan, but he came away with the ability at least to get his body in front and win the free kick.
Yeah, he was strong enough, even though he got caught a little bit out of position there, strong enough to hold off the challenge.
Launched long by Sirois. Over towards the Dallas left. Musa trying to hold it up. It breaks for Helinho. Possession with Toluca now.
Just confirmation, by the way, that officially the goal did go to Peter Musa in the 9th minute. Kaike didn't get the goal, but he got the assist.
Valiente and Ramiro win it back on this right side, and now it's in behind. It's Logan Farrington inside the 18, chipped finish, up and over the bar. Oh, a golden opportunity there for the match winner last time out.
He was put in really well there by, I believe it was Valiente.
Just has to finish that one in a game like this. Maybe opportunities will be more plentiful than we expected based on how these opening 15 minutes have gone. But that was certainly the best look at goal outside of the penalty kick for either side. As now Urquide is whistled for a free kick, challenging for the long ball at the halfway line.
Dallas has to be careful here. The foul's starting to mount up a little bit. Shaq Moore was probably lucky not to get a yellow card a while ago when he grabbed one of the players. But Walter Lopez had a judge that play would go on, so he didn't go back and show the yellow card. I'm telling you, I'm not sure Peter Musa knew much about that.
Toluca long over to this left side, outside the 18. It's Gallardo to his left, cross block behind for a corner. It looks to me like he's trying to receive it, trap the ball, and it's actually a poor touch on a really hard hit ball from Kaique that he's trying to bring down and finish himself, and ultimately one touch was all it takes. It'll be a corner kick for Toluca from the near side.
He's also probably a little distracted because the fallen defender's head is right there. He's probably trying not to kick him in the head.
Toluca threatening to go short here. Alinho and Vega both standing over it. Kamungo is the player on attention for Dallas. They do go short, rolled to the path of Alinho. Now back to the taker, Vega, changing the angle and then lifting it into the 18, flicked up in the air towards the back post. Still not cleared. Kaique from the top of the 6 didn't get much distance behind it, but the flag was up. And Dallas had opted to give away another corner, but it'll be their restart as the offside flag goes against Toluca.
So usually here you might say something like, well, you know, Dallas defense can survive the first 15 frantic minutes, you know, and not concede a goal. Well, they did, but kind of the same diff, right? I mean, it's they got to go back, so they've survived the first 16 minutes now.
Sirois up towards Musa, flicks off the head of the defender, still heading Farrington's way, but it's Toluca who hold possession up to the halfway line.
And by the way, the second best chance of the game has definitely gone to Dallas. Third best chance.
Oh, nice move there. Splitting the two defenders for Gutierrez, and Ramiro forced into the tactical foul. He's going to pick up the first yellow card of the game, as he and Valiente were beaten there by the Mexican international Eric Gutierrez.
That's not good for Ramiro as he's huffing and puffing a little bit too. Not sure that was a challenge that was completely necessary. Yes, he was about to run at the back line, but I thought there was plenty of cover back there.
Toluca work it out to Alinho, and Kamungo this time comes away with it. The line to Farrington, who now turns back upfield, battling with Alinho. Alinho's got positioning now, but the loose ball breaks for Kamungo. Quickly up ahead to Musa in the center circle. Farrington alongside him, Valiente joining to his right. Musa now with defender on both sides, keeps hold of it, and tries to skip through the double team, goes down. Not enough for the referee to give a free kick there Dallas's way. Launched quickly up towards Vega on this near side. Shaq Moore attentive to it, nods it out of play.
FC Dallas coach is upset because Peter Musa is still down on the field.
The ball was out of play. That was the opportunity for the referee to go and make sure he was okay. No obligation to stop the run of play, but when it goes out, that's his role. Musa now up and back into formation. Every moment of rest over the 90 minutes is going to be incredibly valuable tonight for FC Dallas with the elevation and the occasion. Loose ball in the midfield. Toluca just about able to keep it at full stretch, but Johansson wins it back after the long ball towards his side. Urquide, drop of the shoulder. Now he finds Nolan Norris, and a moment of space for him to play the ball forward to Farrington. Up to Musa, set back towards Kaique, just out of his path. And this works back to the goalkeeper, Luis Garcia. His long ball, first contact made by Johansson, but Couldn't find a teammate. Now Vega driving centrally, still shy of the halfway line, moves it over to the far side. Norris, nice step out of the back line, comes away with it. Now looking to combine as he makes his way forward into Farrington. Kaike out to Nolan Norris, who may have gotten back on side, but the ball's going to spin out of play in any case.
Well, I thought Dallas had a good forward thrust there, and then Kaike chose to play a negative ball.
A little bit concerned because as they made their way forward there, I didn't spot Petar Musa involved in the attack. I wonder if he's feeling the effects of that challenge moments ago. He's up and moving in the Dallas front line as Toluca have it here in the 20th minute, moving it across their back line. Bruno Mendez up the far sideline. Helinho back heel. It's going to run out of play. Mungo picks up the ball, and the referee is giving him the 5-second countdown as he launches it up in Musa's direction. Controlled by Pereira for Toluca, and he'll drop it back to the goalkeeper. Pereira over to the near side. Valiente closing down Gallardo here. Lifts it along the near sideline. Sirois is going to come and claim as Uriguide and Viñas tangle away from the play. Referee blows the whistle. I'm not sure. He's sort of pointed in both directions here.
Yeah, it's definitely a foul. It's going to go Dallas's way. I think he wanted to have a quick talk with Viñas, or maybe with somebody on the bench complaining about the foul.
It's Uriguide now getting the talking to. Walter Lopez. It will be a Dallas free kick by the looks of things. Sirois has the ball in his hands, and he's rolled it out now. It's about halfway into the Dallas defensive half. Sirois sends it up the Dallas right side towards Musa. Clattered through the back there. And Toluca come away with possession. And now Uriguide's fouled again by Viñas. And the referee just had a talking to with both of these. Viñas back to his feet and immediately arguing with the Dallas players.
But that's the exact point that Osaze Uriguide is trying to make to Walter Lopez. He's over there counting up the fouls.
Viñas, who was involved with Uruguay at the World Cup, playing in all 3 games in an unsuccessful campaign from Marcelo Bielsa's side. And yeah, it was a fistful of jersey, truth be told, for
and
both players, but Uriguide had the positioning there. Shaq Moore stands over the free kick, 15 yards shy of the halfway line.
We know Uriguide is not gonna mind that kind of stuff tonight. That's his game.
Moved over to Norris and now fired forward for Kaike. Turning and finding Farrington. Breaks kindly to Valiente. Dallas moving the ball through the Toluca half here. And out to the right side for Johansson. Time and space for him. He's going to whip the cross in towards the back post. Kamungo trying to keep it alive. Puts it back into the 6, but right at the goalkeeper, who picks it up and quickly fires it ahead. Now Toluca will go on the counter. Helinho eating up the yards on the dribble. Brings it past the halfway line. Now cutting infield onto his left foot. Middle of the Dallas half, he rolls it across to Gallardo on this near side. Dallas getting the bodies back defensively well there.
I thought they might attack more through Gallardo and Vega on the left, but really it's been a little bit more directed toward Helinho on the right.
Possession just outside the center circle, rolled forward to the front line, and this time Shaq Morris called for a foul. Viñas is going to draw the contact here. Working in a tandem with Jorge Diaz up front for Toluca, but it's been the Uruguayan who's been in the spotlight so far as we played a quarter of the 90.
Yeah, 7th foul whistled against FC Dallas.
Vega and Helinho standing over this free kick. "40 yards from goal, dead center. Toluca send 2 to the left and 4 to the right. Dallas set the line on top of the 18. Vega rolls it forward for Helino to have a strike from distance, and the Dallas wall quickly closing that down and blocking it back into the Red Devils' half. In the midfield, Helino leaves it, looking for the dummy run, but pass intended for him never came. Dallas win it back for Sirois to launch long, but it's going to be Toluca possession, recovered by the goalkeeper and captain Luis Garcia.
Yeah, Osaze Urguide did a good job of sniffing that one out and sort of interrupting the third man running off that dummy.
Toluca approaching the halfway line here on the near side. Brought forward by Pereira. Now going into midfield and rolls it ahead. Nice slip pass forward, finds Diaz up to the top of the box. It's a 1-2. Diaz chopping back and getting back in time and breaking it up once again, Urguide. And now Kaique lifts it forward over to the right side. Musa sprinting beyond the back line and now holds it up, waiting for support, but the flag is up. It's the Moose there.
And one thing before Urguide made that important challenge, what he had done is he'd gotten pulled out, chasing one of those chasing one of the attackers as they move around a lot in there, Toluca does. And as soon as he moves out of that spot, Toluca recognizes it and played and just it completely opened up Dallas's back line.
Toluca possession in the center circle. Franco Romero, the Argentine, plays it back along the back line. Across to the near side for Vega, who's dropped deep to receive. Still shy of halfway. They'll switch the point of attack. Across to Garcia, the right back, who will bring it into the attacking half and play it up the far sideline for Helino. 1v1 with Camungo in the wide areas, cutting onto his left foot. Pass towards the top of the box. Viñas with Urguide on his back. Viñas still holding it up, moving forward towards the byline on the far side. Heavy touch, and that's going to run out for a corner. Actually, last touch off of Urguide. Corner kick will come from the far flag for Toluca. Opted to go short last time. They've got both Helino and Vega at the flag once again. Sirois patrolling the 6-yard box as they do go short. Quickly scooped in with the right foot, headed towards goal, but it skews off the forehead of the Toluca player and spins out towards the sideline on the near side. Kept in play initially. Urguide comes and slides in to repel the attack. Possession still with Toluca here in the Dallas half. Romero moves it back into the center circle. They'll switch it across to the far sideline.
Kind of concerning there that Toluca had a free header. Didn't work out for them, but something to watch out for off that corner kick.
Vega and Helino still combining together in the right center channel with the Toluca attack. Diaz dropping in, get involved as well. Helino back into midfield for Romero. Romero sends it back. Garcia will keep it moving here. It's out to the far sideline once again for Vega. Who's stayed across on the right side after the corner. Vega back for Helino. All of the creative players in the Toluca attack working together in tight spaces on that far side. And move it back into the middle. And rolled forward towards the top of the box. Looking to hold it up now. Toluca keep possession. 15 yards outside the area. Scooped in off the left foot of Helino. And a poor touch from Gallardo on the near side. That runs out for a goal kick.
Yeah, they're really working that overload over there on the right side and finally found Gallardo on the weak side, but as you said, it wasn't a good touch from him, and some of that was because he had Herman Johansson in his face.
Well, Steve, we're approaching the half-hour mark, and you have to say there have been some questionable moments, obviously conceding the early goal, but finding the goal to get back in the game. This has been a positive start to this one for Dallas as they win it back at the halfway line. Kaique back to Nolan Norris from the base of the circle. Will lift it forward, looking for the run in behind him. Musa. It bounces through for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, your elements of concern are that you've got mounting fouls and Romero already on a yellow card. Otherwise, not in a bad spot if you're FC Dallas.
Helino tackled off him by Nolan Norris, just at the halfway line on the far side, and Camungo brings it forward, combining with Musa. And that pass forward from Kaique, just out of the reach of Valiente. Kaique going in well to win it back, and Johansson has it. He'll leave it for Kaique to bring forward on the right. Valiente looking for the slip pass wide once again to the pit bull. Thought he may still think he's on the score sheet. We won't tell him. It's fired forward to Farrington, who's dispossessed by Pereira. And Ramiro called for a foul.
I mean, Ramiro's carrying a yellow card. He's 15 yards into the opposition half. I get it. He's looking to.
I mean, he didn't foul him, crucially.
I mean, he did bring his arm across the shoulder. He spun him a little bit. He's just got to be careful.
Lifted out towards the near side. Here's Gallardo in the attacking third for Toluca. Up to the top of the box. Vega back heel, back into midfield for Romero. Set back wide once again for Gallardo. Low cross in towards Helino. And Kamungo got just enough on that one to break it up. Ike passing out to this right wing for Musa. Musa being hounded by Pereira. Turns over. Vega will move it back into midfield for Toluca.
I mean, the shock here is that of all the fouls for FC Dallas, I don't think Herman Johansson's been called for one yet.
Dallas has struggled to win fouls of their own as well. As it's wide on this near side with Vega. Vega passed into the 18. And it's going to break back his way. He goes down, and that was a very theatric fall there for the Toluca captain. Played forward to Farrington, who wins a free kick for Dallas, and that'll be a reprieve.
And Toluca's so good at finding the seams and playing through those lines.
And the referee hearing it from the Toluca faithful here as now we've officially played a half hour.
Looks like
giving it away in the middle third now. It's going to be Vega turned around, going back towards the halfway line. Finds Gutierrez in the center circle. Played out to the right wing of Toluca for Helino. Bombing run on the overlap. It's chipped in behind now. A low cross fired through the 6. Is going to run all the way through and behind for a goal kick. That was Garcia on the overlap.
Hawkeye producer Sam Hale corrects me. One foul on Herman Johansson.
Johansson able to watch that one over the line for a goal kick there.
What you sort of like, Ryan, is that seems to be a little frustration sort of creeping into some of the players for Toluca. Again, they are a club with big ambition, and they have to win this game in order to get into the quarterfinals of this tournament.
Launched up towards Musa, headed out of play by Pereira. And Eric Quill sort of miming on the sideline the treatment that Petter Musa has received from the center backs of Toluca so far, just being restricted by the hands around the shoulders of the Moose as Johansson launches it forward. Farrington and Musa combining wide on this right side. Miro and the pass into Kaike, who gives it away, and now Toluca will drive forward past the halfway line. Vega over to Helino from the center circle and into the attacking third on the far side. Getting up to speed there. Kaike keeping up with him, and Helino goes down, but referee not interested. Kaike's good work defensively there that wins it back for Dallas, but then he just gives it away again. Fortunately, Ramiro able to slide in and immediately win it back. Now 1-2 between Johansson and Musa. Musa absolutely cleared out, but Johansson was making his way uncontested up the right side. The referee gives a yellow card, but could have come back for that one.
Absolutely. I mean, Johansson, I get it. It's a tough foul, and it's a proper yellow card, but Johansson was off and running down that right side.
I mean, the referee has just got to spot that Johansson is going to be in a good position there with Farrington waiting in the middle. It was an attacking opportunity. Instead, Dallas will have a free kick 10 yards into the attacking half. And Alexis Vega is hounding the referee right now, probably about that penalty appeal moments ago. Musa has taken some serious speeding in this first half hour. Good to see him up and moving freely after that tackle. Dallas goes short, working it out to this right side. Johansson goes down, and this time the referee points the other way. Johansson landed on top of the ball, and the referee gives a handball.
Yeah, it might have been dangerous play holding the ball down there.
Toluca quickly restart play, hitting a switching ball out to the far side, but it's a poor touch and Kamun goes onto it. Now he makes his way up the far side for Dallas. Wide to the 18, low cross, blocked out for a throw. With runners inside the area. Good front-footed defending from Kamungo, but he just couldn't add that final third quality.
Yeah, he had Farrington and Peter Musa just with eyes wide there looking for a ball.
And another giveaway, I think, emblematic of that frustration you're talking about, as Kamungo is working with Kaike, advanced up that far sideline. Poked in behind for the run of Bernie Kamungo, has whipped his left foot through this one, and it's over everybody's head. Out for a throw on the near side, and that time Farrington was on for a cutback to the top of the box.
Yeah, Peter Musa was in there at the 6, but way overhit from Bernie Kamungo.
Toluca clear their lines up to the halfway line. Uriguide called for a foul before the ball even arrived. And Vinas is down holding his right foot.
And Uriguide is walking away with the ball. What he doesn't want to do is antagonize the referee here.
It's been a real battle between Vinas and Uriguide in this first half. Vinas, who's the latest signing for Toluca in place of Paulinho, who was the player of the season for Toluca in the Champions Cup. Top scorer in that competition as well. He's been incredible, the veteran Portuguese striker, but he's currently out with a calf injury. Vinas, the new signing in his place. Toluca move it along the halfway line. From the center circle, Gutierrez scoops the ball out to this near side. Coming forward, Jesus Gallardo. Gallardo, low cross, sent in, finds Vega, who's moving away from goal with his first touch. And now out of the 18 altogether, with his eyes in the middle of the field. Ramiro spotting those eyes, picking off the pass and lifting it forward. Musa takes it on the chest and plays it all the way back to Sirois. Takes the first touch and he'll clear his lines wide to the 18, up to the Farrington, but over his head. Walked forward past the halfway line, Brian Garcia on the Toluca right. Closed down by Norris as he plays it backwards to Helino at the halfway line.
And Dallas only with 3 shots, but one of them the breakaway that Logan Farrington, sort of semi-breakaway that he shot well high.
As it stands, they have 7 points, and a draw would send this game to a penalty shootout for that extra point as well. 8 points likely to be enough for Dallas, 9 points a guarantee. 7, you need some real help, but it could still go in your favor. Lifted towards the top of the box by Toluca, repelled well by Ramiro. Now Farrington and Musa working together through the middle third. Farrington goes down and dispossessed there by Pereira. And now Toluca with Alexis Vega into the D, and a shot blocked by Uriguide. That was Diaz pulling the trigger.
Well, that was one of the keys, Ryan, that we talked about. When Dallas gets out of the break, they have to make good choices, and Logan Farrington just held on to the ball a little bit too long there. He's really not having his best match, to be honest.
Possession in the middle of the Dallas half, now moved out to the far side. Helino 1v1 with Kamungo, sprints towards the byline, low cross sent in, deflects behind for a corner. Norris puts that one behind. And Helino's already across to take it. Vega now joins in.
Remember last time on a corner kick from this side, they got a free header near the corner of the 6.
Vega the right foot or Helino with the left. They've opted to at least go short for one short pass, and they do so here. Another right-footed ball from Vega in towards the penalty spot, bouncing around, cleared away by Musa. And into the Toluca half where Garcia will retrieve it.
I mean, they are a well-drilled team, and every corner kick does look dangerous.
Garcia looking to hit the ball back out towards Helino on that far side. It's well dealt with by Kamungo and Norris. Back to Sirois, who sends it forward. Farrington dispossessed again near the halfway line. Toluca Toluca back in possession here in the Dallas half, working through the right center channel of their attack. Helino slip pass forward. Vega to the top of the box, looking to combine. Urquide able just about to get it clear. For Ramiro, works it forward to Musa. Now here's Farrington driving through the center circle. There's only one man back for Toluca with reinforcements on the way. Farrington goes down. Not enough there for a foul for the referee.
Yeah, he was looking for the call there, recognizing that he didn't have a lot of help.
Played through along the ground to the middle of the field, dealt with there. Dallas getting it out to the far side, and Kamungo wins the free kick, this time from Helino.
Tell me, we talked about it the other day. The FIFA referees, they don't give you the cheap ones.
The referee not happy with Dallas taking some time over this free kick. It's Sirois who's come all the way out to take it. He points towards his watch as a warning. And Sirois hits the diagonal out towards this near side, looking for Johansson, but it bounces straight out of play.
I mean, critical here as we get right up on the 40th minute, that get into the after the 40-minute mark, that Dallas gets into the locker room and really makes Toluca worried about getting that second goal that they need so desperately.
For Toluca, only 3 points will do after their defeat at the death at LAFC on Saturday.
If it gets into a penalty kick to decide that extra point, Dallas needs it, whereas Toluca would be out either way.
Another free kick given against Dallas in the Toluca half, and they take it quickly, moving it out to the right wing. Helino now driving forward towards the far corner of the box, cutting to his left foot. A shot deflected up in the air off the head of Urquide. Volleyed effort from Gallardo, and that runs through without a touch. I think Urquide is still a little bit stunned by taking that shot to the head moments ago. And he tried to clear it, but it went under his foot, fortunately without a touch.
He's been busy.
4 minutes plus stoppage time for Dallas to navigate here to get to that halftime break and make adjustments. Sirois hammers it forward up towards Musa, over his head. Shackmore nods it back to the Toluca half. The two teams playing head tennis here. Urquide with a touch that skews off the left foot, a cultured left foot of Gallardo, and out for a Dallas throw.
Gallardo hasn't been a big influence so far. A couple of crosses from the left side.
Dallas will have a throw in with Johansson. In for Musa. Musa poking it back into midfield, left that one behind Ramiro, and now Toluca go the other way. Jorge Diaz out to Helino. Helino just outside the top of the box, slip pass into the area. Viñas, shot blocked by Urquide, back off the striker, and it should be a goal kick. It is. Fantastic defending there in the latest edition of that duel between Viñas and Urquide.
Oh, I thought Viñas was a step offside anyway.
Osaze Urquide, we heard from him in the pregame show with our very own Garrett Melser. Just choosing not to think about the altitude. He's got plenty on his mind, plenty to think about in this game, and since conceding that early penalty, he has been absolutely top drawer for Dallas. Launched long all the way through to the goalkeeper, who will send it back the other way for Toluca. Norris puts it out for a throw on the far sideline.
Yeah, the only mistake I can really recall is, as I pointed out, when he got caught chasing out a little high and sort of left a gap in behind him, but otherwise he's been around the ball a lot.
From the halfway line on the near side, Gallardo playing it forward for Vega. Vega past Johansson, who brings him down. And Toluca will take the free kick short, now switching the point of attack across to the opposite side. Garcia now driving infield, finds Viñas. Viñas lays it off for Helino. They cross now for Gallardo. Left center channel, 25 yards from goal. Goes on a dart towards the byline, fires in the low cross off Johansson, behind for another corner.
Fouls and corners against Dallas starting to mount now.
Fourth of the game for the home side. Vega standing over it with Helino close by. Dallas now with two players at attention for the short corner. Although Ramiro will back away, leaving just Kamungo in the area. Rolled forward for Helenio, who whips it in off the left foot, deflects off Ramiro, who did come and join in. There's appeals for a handball. Referee didn't spot it initially. It's back out wide on this near side for Vega. To the byline for Gallardo, who fires. It looks like he was going for goal there, but he lifts it over the bar, behind for a goal kick.
Well, the ball did bounce up, and it might have hit Ramiro in the hand, but typically if it comes off of Ramiro, which I think it does, they're not going to call that unless they've got some strange Leagues Cup rule. We dealt with this a little bit in Champions League. And this is what the referee is talking about here to the Toluca players, that the ball bounced up off of, I think, off of Ramiro.
And it's also the back trailing arm without any intent. The referee's giving the indication that we're going to continue play here.
Yeah, if your back trailing arm impedes a shot and it's out beyond your body, yes, that's going to be a penalty kick, but not on something like that.
Ball beyond the halfway line. Another header won by Pereira for Toluca into the center circle. Helenio's pass forward is intercepted by Shaq Moore, who plays it forward up this right side. Musa coming off the right flank, loses possession as we head into 2 minutes. First half stoppage time. Ramiro thought he'd picked the pocket of the Toluca player there. He's whistled for a foul, and that's the second or third foul since the yellow card. Referee not going to the pocket here, but he did get the ball coming from behind, right under the nose of the referee, who's had a lot to contend with tonight against this team and in this atmosphere. All told, I don't think it's been a bad showing so far for Walter Lopez. And now a chance maybe for a shot from distance. Jorge Diaz right at Sirois, as he had a moment of space and time there 10 yards outside the Dallas box, but didn't trouble the Canadian netminder. Halfway through the 2 minutes added on, Sirois hammers it forward. This time looking for Farrington. Farrington banging bodies with Mendez. Coming out off his line, Garcia will launch it forward. Norris winning the header at the halfway line. Toluca put a foot through it, sending it high and into the Dallas half. Shaq Moore, nice work there in the duel to come away with it, get it back to Sirois, who will launch it forward again. Over the head of Musa, brought down on the chest by Pereira. Now it's just 30 seconds left to play before the break, and there's the ball beyond Norris. Helenio now low cross sent into the area, and Toluca score. And it's a dagger at the death of the first half for Federico Viñas.
Nolan Norris just makes a mistake out there. He goes for a ball instead of just letting the ball be received and then making sure the player doesn't turn. And it's just a bad moment for the young defender, but there was still a little bit of work to do as Helenio puts a nice ball across. Viñas gets right in behind Shaq Moore, right in front of Herman Johansson, and he's got it put away at the back post.
So close to the halftime break there. You can see the fatigue setting in. Just needed to navigate 30 more seconds.
I really think it has something to do with it. I think that we talked about how it's the repeated runs, and you just think you have to think that a fresh Nolan Norris probably gets to that ball, and I think that's his muscle memory tells him he can get there, but it's just tougher when you've been playing 45 minutes at 8,700 feet.
Well, the roller coaster of emotions in the first half as Dallas fight back from an early deficit. Petar Musa almost inadvertently leveling the game inside 10 minutes, but the go-ahead goal for Toluca in those final seconds of the first half means they take a 2-1 advantage into the break. Still plenty of soccer to be played down in Mexico tonight, and Dallas will have to fight their way back into this game once again on the other side of halftime. Take a quick moment, step aside, and we'll be back with analysis of this first half as you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
You push your body hard in the name of fitness. Sure, it's for a good cause. But a good cause shouldn't mean sacrificing a good time. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now. We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
When you don't compromise on the court, you shouldn't compromise off of it either. Lose the calories, not the taste. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Copyright 2024.
After just over 45 minutes at Estadio Nemesio Diez, it is Toluca FC 2, FC Dallas 1 in this third and final game of Phase 1 of Leagues Cup action. Hello, everybody. I'm your halftime host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a moment by the voices of tonight's contest, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. But first, let's get you your halftime show brought to you tonight by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you this evening by Advocare, building champions together. Well, the highlights started for Toluca in the 8th minute after Osaze Uriguide caused a penalty that was then put by Alexis Vega, the Toluca captain, past Jonathan Sirois. That made it 1-0 Toluca in the 8th minute. But then less than a minute later, it was one of the strangest goals Dallas will score this season, in part by Petter Musa.
And now driving forward through the middle, Herman Johansson pokes it ahead to Musa inside the 18. Musa goes down with a challenge from behind. Now Kaike lines up a shot, deflected, and it spills past the goalkeeper and in. And Dallas have leveled things immediately with the Pitbull strike from distance.
Musa's 14th of the season, first in Leagues Cup action, made it 1-1 in the 9th minute. And that would hold until almost the exact stroke of halftime when Federico Viñas would put one past Jonathan Sirois in the 45th plus second minute. It was essentially the last action of the first half. That made it 2-1 Toluca as we went to halftime. Let's get you those halftime stats. Those are brought to you by UMB Bank. Possession of the way of the home side, 74-26. 13 shots for the Scarlets, 3 of those on target. 3 shots for FCD, just 1 of those on target tonight for the Burn. You've had 4 corners for the home side, 1 for the visitors. Meanwhile, you've had 1 save tonight for Jonathan Sirois. No saves tonight needed for Luis Garcia. 13 fouls for Dallas, 1 yellow card. That went to Ramiro. 6 fouls, 1 yellow card. That went to Toluca center back Federico Pereira. Now let's bring in the voices of this one. It's Ryan Figert. It's Steve Davis. And Ryan, we were on track to get to halftime 1-1, and while Dallas bit, but they weren't breaking. But then Viñas puts that in the last possible action before the break, and now that just kind of gives everything a whole different vibe going into halftime.
Yeah, because at 1-1, Dallas didn't have to throw everything at it in the second half. They had at least a penalty shootout opportunity to protect. Now we know 9 is what they need to guarantee their spot, but based on the math and the game still to be played, 8 is probably going to be enough. And you have to say, based on how the first half goes, they would have absolutely taken a draw. Just a dominant run of play from Toluca, as we expected at home, and that's one of the best teams in this region, if not the best team in CONCACAF. But it's the way that they can attack it in such a versatile way. It's not like we saw in the first game in Leagues Cup against Querétaro, where it's dumping crosses in. And it's some of that. They do put some crosses in, but they also mix it up in the way that Chivas mix it up, and they're able to combine all of these things, and they're doing it with players that are of the highest quality that you can see in North American soccer. So a lot to contend with, and Dallas stood tall for about 40 to 45 minutes of that, and ultimately that goal in stoppage time, you're right, it really does leave us with a different feel coming into the halftime break. Maybe it gives some extra fuel to the fire for that halftime team talk, because it's going to have to be one for the ages.
Steve, we've gotten a replay here of the penalty shout that Osaze Uriguide called, and that feels like one of those 50-50 penalties. I'm not surprised that it got called. I also wouldn't have been surprised if it didn't get called. Now that we've seen a couple different looks at it and you saw it in real time, what's your take on that moment?
What I see, it's difficult. You don't get a real good look at it. I think Walter Lopez had a better look at it than any of the camera angles, but it does look like Osaze Urguide gets, as he slides through and makes no contact with the ball, he gets into the back of the heel there, and he does fell the player. So, it wouldn't shock me if it wasn't called, but it doesn't shock me that it was called. I was going to add on to what Ryan said. You know, it sort of changes the vibe. What it changes, that late goal, it changes the conversations happening inside the locker room right now. You know, whereas Dallas could have gone in and started talking about how they can potentially they want a second goal, but you know, let's be careful here because a tie and a penalty kick shootout is probably okay for us, and they're going to start talking about how do we understand that they're about to get more desperate. How do we deal with that, and then how do we exploit it? Whereas now they've got to have sort of that conversation, but they've also got to have the conversation of, well, what if they sit back a little bit more and slow the game down? How do we respond to that? So, and Ryan's right that dealing with them in defense, I actually think they've done pretty well because of the way Toluca, they can attack in transition, which we've seen a few times. They combine, they can interchange, and Dallas has done pretty well with it. The difference in the game right now for me is that they had one other good chance outside the penalty kick, and they put it away. Dallas had one other good chance. And by the way, apologies to Ramiro. It was actually Ramiro that put Logan Farrington through, and Dallas's other good chance, they didn't put it away. That's really the difference.
Yeah, and honestly, when you boil it down to that, despite obviously the territorial dominance and the possession dominance, you take that, right? You take having
Every
even
time.
chances, particularly when you've given away a penalty. And just to do a little bit of scoreboard watching, still plenty of time to go at BMO Stadium, but Querétaro has a shock lead over LAFC, and that means that is one of the things that Dallas would need to advance with even 7 points, would be LAFC not necessarily to lose, but to not win by 2+ goals, and they've already gone behind. So just keeping an eye on that one as well. It won't matter unless Dallas can get some type of result tonight at Nemesio Diez.
Boy, that's man bites dog there at BMO Stadium if that one holds, although that looks to be in the 28th minute, so a lot of time there. As we look at the second half of action for this one, Ryan, I'll start here with you. Obviously, Dallas is going to have to find a goal somewhere. Whether by hook or by crook, they need to do it. And as we kind of look at the adjustments here for FC Dallas, there's a couple players that we probably need to discuss, one being Ramiro for the only reason he's on a yellow card, and we've already seen him rack up a couple of post-yellow card fouls. He's still one of your best communicators. He's still one of your best midfielders. But the last thing Dallas can afford to do is go down a man against Toluca.
Yeah, but you also can't afford to take him off the field, in my opinion. I think the good side from Kaique in that first half was it's the good and the bad that we see from him all the time. Ramiro also bailed him out on multiple occasions on poor passes in the midfield and winning the ball back at full stretch. And I just think you can't afford to take him out at least as long as he can be at his best physically, because you need him out there. You need his game experience. You need his ability to calm the team down in this environment. And you just have to trust him. You just have to trust your veteran, your leader, and say we cannot afford you making any more fouls from behind, any more fouls to stop a counterattack, because he has the yellow card and he's already committed a couple of fouls since then. The leash is going to be short from the referee before Ramiro sees a second yellow card, and you just have to trust him as long as you can before you bring somebody like Kappas into the game.
I would say I would agree with all of that. I don't know how much longer he's going to last, but I would also say the leash has to be short from Eric Quill, because I think what will happen is if Ramiro commits another foul, hopefully it's not a hard foul. Next one, I've got to send you off for persistent infringement, second yellow card, that equals a red card. And I think at that moment, Eric Quill's got to yank him right there. I will also say there was a moment that I noticed, just talking about Kaique and Ramiro, the tandem and how they work together. And I do agree that they have to be that he needs to be on the field as long as he can. But there was a moment where they were attacking in transition. Ramiro was doing everything he could, but Jorge Diaz was just pulling away from him. and Kayake, they're like cartoon-like, was just running by both of them, to get back. So Kayake covers the ground. Ramiro supplies the brains.
Meanwhile, Steve, we got about 90 seconds here. Obviously, Dallas is going to need that second goal, but there's a couple of questions in the attack. Obviously, Peter Musa got clattered into a few times, almost cartoonishly, by the players from Toluca, and he got up slow a couple times, and he also played a lot in the Chivas match. You've also got Logan on the other side, who is a lot fresher, but hasn't looked as sharp out there so far in this one. When you factor in just trying to get goal number 2, how do you think Eric Quill should approach his forward line?
Keep Peter Musa on the field, of course. And by the way, Federico Pereira, he's also carrying a yellow card when he clattered into Peter Musa. Right now, Logan Farrington is not having a good game. We know about the quality of Peter Musa. You keep him on the field for as long as he wants to be out there.
Yeah, I think you can go to Santi Moreno probably at halftime here, and then if you're continuing to chase this game, then you get somebody like Sam Sarver in the game to have that vertical threat.
I mean, it's going to be all hands at the pump for Dallas as they look for goal number 2 as they try to advance here in the 2026 Leagues Cup to the knockout round. That's going to do it for the halftime show. We will take a break. When we come back, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for the second half of action. It's Toluca 2, FC Dallas 1 at halftime at Estadio Nemesio Diez here in the 2026 Leagues Cup. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games, plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
God, I'm saying wow.
Want to hear something incredible?
The treatments are over, the infusions are done. Now you can get back to all the kid fun. We'll miss you lots, but you'll be happy to know chemo is over, so it's time to go.
At Children's Health, we're making groundbreaking advancements in cancer treatments every day to bring more healing and more hope to families. Innovative treatments filled with hope. That's incredible together. Learn more at childrens.com.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
Headed back into El Infierno for the second half of action here in the third game of the Leagues Cup Phase 1 for FC Dallas. They trailed 2-1 at the break to the host tonight, Toluca. Taking you through quickly the live standings for both of these teams. As it stands, all 3 points with Toluca. That means they sit in third, and they would be guaranteed a spot in that top 4 and in the quarterfinals. The only team that could potentially hop above them, Cruz Azul, who will play Chicago tomorrow night. And for Dallas, they sit down in 7th, knowing that a point would take them up into third, temporarily in those top 4 spots for the quarterfinals, with Chicago and Austin still to play. If they can do anything beyond that, it will feel like they've absolutely pulled a rabbit out of the hat tonight at Estadio Nemesio Diez. And Steve, they found the quick response to going behind in the first half, and they rode through most of that first half unscathed. Ultimately, though, that final minute of first half stoppage time where that second goal comes for Toluca means they've got to find a response in the second half.
They've got to find a response, and it's just going to get harder. You know, the atmosphere is not going to get any easier. The air is not going to get any less thin. It was always going to be a tough task. It got a little bit tougher. Well, actually a lot tougher with that goal they conceded just before the break.
Taking a look into the Dallas huddle. No changes coming out in terms of personnel for this second 45 minutes. On the Dallas side, at least. We'll wait for confirmation for Toluca. Their now storied manager, Antonio Mohamed, has not turned to his bench early here. Mentioned in the first half. Leagues Cup really the only trophy available to Toluca that they have yet to win. And really, they haven't come close yet. They've advanced from the group stage in all 3 previous appearances, but they've never won a game past the round of 16. They play highway to hell.
Gotta respect it, don't you? I mean,
True to form.
They bring all the tricks there. They want to remind everybody that comes in there that you're in for a rough night.
It'll be Toluca moving from left to right in this second half from our vantage point to take the kickoff as we are back underway for the second 45 minutes. Dallas currently out of the quarterfinal places and in need of a response in Mexico. It's all the way back to the goalkeeper as Musa leads the charge in the press. It'll be hammered forward by Pereira. And it runs straight out of play. Also have to track down the ball to take this throw in, and that secondary ball that was available in plenty in the first half is no longer going to be easily accessible for anyone in Dallas colors in this second half, as long as Toluca lead.
I mean, it almost plays into Dallas's hands, though, because, you know, yes, you are behind, and yes, you need the equalizer goal, but you still don't want a really fast tempo.
Helinho just into the Dallas half in a central position, skipping through defenders, but eventually Johansson got a piece of the ball. Now Kayike slip ball forward, finds Valiente. Runners in the attack. It's ahead to Musa in the middle. Away from him, back towards Valiente, who loses out. And that attack breaks down. Kamungo had made his way forward up the left, and he'll retreat now as Toluca have possession outside the center circle in their own half.
It was almost like Musa got surprised that Valiente gave him that ball right there, but I think it was the right ball.
Bruno Mendez across to the near sideline for Brian Garcia. Is closed down by Kamungo. He moves it into the middle. Now beyond the halfway line, back out to this right side for Toluca. Jorge Diaz floating across the field, combining as they work it wide to the far side. And here comes Vega, sprinting infield, pass forward towards the top of the box, set back for Vega, left-footed shot blocked by a teammate, Jorge Diaz. And it deflects wide to the 18 on the far side. Possession still with the home side. Move through midfield. Romero finds Vega now in the right center channel. Set wide for Garcia, the right back, bombing forward here at the edge of the box. Back for Vega, who fires a low shot towards the back post, and Sirois watches that one wide.
Ryan, I'm just not sure how much more Romero could go here, honestly. Just then on that first incursion, Vega just ran right by Romero as he's entering the 18, and there are already 2 players behind Romero, so he's got to track him. He just sort of stood there, and as soon as the ball went out of play, he put his hands on his hips. He looks like he's just about out of gas.
Sirois sends everybody up the field. Slips as he takes the goal kick. It still just about reaches halfway. Toluca knotted up in the air. Urguide tangling for it. Here comes Toluca with Helinho sprinting forward at Nolan Norris. Leaves him in his wake as he makes his way wide to the 18 on the near side. Closed down by Kayike. Blocked the initial cross. It bounces back Toluca's way. Rolled into the area for Vega. Vega slipped ball back towards the top of the 18. Defended by Urguide. Kamungo runs into trouble. And now a nice flick at the top of the box. Looking for the combination and the return. And rolling around on the ground, Jorge Diaz, who was dispossessed. Referee did not give a free kick.
Kayike, Bernie Kamungo, and now Shaq have all given the ball away fairly needlessly. Ooh. Shaq got away. Osaze got away with one there. And a foul.
Gutierrez actually on the top of the box is now back up to his feet. Referee will restart with a drop ball for Dallas as he had stopped play for the player that was down injured. Osaze wants the ball dropped to Toluca to play back to the goalkeeper. The referee is not happy with that as a plan. Sets it down for Osaze himself. Rolled into midfield for Kayike, who can turn here. And now he'll lift the ball forward for the run of Valiente. the way, Brian Garcia has it now for Toluca. He'll hammer it forward up to the halfway line. Well received there by Diaz. Now worked wide for Helino.
Toluca's just really good at finding that second level to beat the press.
Moved through the center circle now out towards their left wing. Gallardo coming forward, receives it. Entering into the 18, cutting it back, and now Gutierrez shot from the top of the box scores. With venom, past Sirois, who was diving down to his right, make it 3-1 Toluca.
I mean, as a goalkeeper, you don't like getting beat from that far out, but that shot was hit with power and placement at about 26, 27 yards, something like that.
There's Gallardo and Gutierrez, the two Mexican internationals, combining for the goal. As Gutierrez, the late arriving runner from just outside the D, rifles the left-footed shot past Sirois, whipping in with curl inside the post.
I hate to say it, it's Ramiro that just couldn't quite get out there quick enough to interrupt the shot, but it was a good shot from Gutierrez.
And while the equation has changed, we'll still turn it down to Garrett, who has our quick halftime update.
Hey guys, I just sat in on Eric Wells' halftime team talk, and it was an impassioned one, as you might imagine. He started with the team's mentality. He didn't think it was good enough, especially in the last 20 minutes. He said, I am not okay with the other team having a stronger mentality than us.
Sorry, Garrett. It's wide now with Johansson approaching the edge of the 18. Chip ball into the area is repelled away. Kamungo looking to retrieve it. And it breaks towards Musa, lifting it back out towards Johansson. Time and space inside the area. His low cross deflects up in the air, and it spins out for a corner. And Valiente will go across to take it, as Dallas now need at least 2 goals to get themselves back into the equation here for a quarterfinal spot.
First corner kick for Dallas. Not sure whether Johansson was shooting or crossing there. It was going to be a driven cross if it was a cross.
Valiente with the left foot here addresses this one, hangs it up towards the top of the 6. Johansson got ahead to it straight up in the air. Challenging for the second ball. Kaique back into the area. It's still bouncing around as Kamungo switches the play back out to Valiente, the corner taker. He will sprint towards the byline. Right-footed ball sent in, repelled at the near post, and out for a Dallas throw on the far sideline. You can't panic. Just need 2 goals. Now you maybe abandon hopes of all 3 points, but keep yourself in this game as long as you can. Here's Kaique, right center channel, rolled forward for Valiente, who's dispossessed on top of the box. Contested ball in the middle, and Urquide absolutely clattered there by Franco Romero. Looked like a study tackle as well.
I thought so too.
And that's right on the borderline of a potential yellow card there for the Toluca midfielder, but it's given Dallas a free kick, essentially 20 yards into the attacking half.
I mean, the question now for Eric Quill is how quickly does he get the attack-minded subs on? You don't need, all the reasons we said you have to keep Ramiro on. I don't know that you need that as much now.
Now set up with 4 players spread across the 18-yard box. Toluca set their line a couple of yards, 5 yards into the 18. It's going to be Musa from distance, and the shot balloons up and over the bar. As the Moose calls his own number there.
I thought he was going to try to really hammer it from that distance. It looked like he tried to do the thing where you reduce the spin to create a knuckle effect. It just didn't work out for him.
Gallardo skipped past Valiente, but ran into Ramiro, and now it's Logan Farrington, the right center channel, into the top of the box. Musa thought it was intended for someone else, and he left that one. It seemed like a decent pass towards Musa.
Kind of same thing as I said a while ago, and Valiente seemed to surprise him with a ball that I thought was the right pass.
Launched up to Viñas in the front line for Toluca. He keeps hold of it.
Interesting from Garrett. I thought the team's mentality was okay. They certainly were racking up the fouls.
And certainly found a way back into the game right away. Maybe it allowed the level to drop just towards the end of that first half, but it was obvious, I think, watching on, that it was the physical level dropping off there as
the fatigue,
the fatigue set in. Helinho wide on this near side for Toluca, plays it up the line, and Uriguide there, really good work, well positioned up against Brian Garcia. And Mexico was just introduced to an Osaze Uriguide special as he dropped the shoulder into the player to watch that one roll over the line for a goal kick.
I think Garcia, as he understood he wasn't going to be able to get around Uriguide, so he takes him and throws him down. Again, that's Uriguide's game. He won't mind that.
Sirois launches it forward. Musa flicks it on, and Farrington's called for the foul. Truth be told, the Dallas front line has really not won that battle against the center backs for Toluca tonight. Very few of those long balls have resulted in any kind of possession. We saw Eric Quill protesting in the first half about the physicality from the center backs. As now we can see that Federico Pereira, one of those two, has a ripped shirt from that latest altercation with Farrington. Loose pass from Toluca. They give it away on the far sideline for a Dallas throw.
And I mean, to be fair, you know, Osaze Uriguide has been physical too.
Kaike lost it and then commits the foul high up the field for Dallas. There have been just some simple mistakes with the ball, technical things, but you have to consider as well, when the blood is not reaching your brain, the technical things are not as simple.
It's true.
And that's the equation at over 8,000 feet of elevation tonight. 56 minutes played. Toluca leading 3-1 with goals on either side of the halftime break to take the lead. Dallas drop it back to Sirois. Rolled forward to Shaq under pressure from two. He finds Ramiro, who will lift it out to Johansson. Johansson trying to play the pass forward for Shaq Moore. It spins off his foot out for a throw.
Shaq, by the way, 9 of 10 on his passing under heavy pressure often in the first half, so good numbers there.
Vega and Viñas with the first half goals for Toluca. And after the break, it was Eric Gutierrez with the strike for the home side.
Gutierrez, he's come across, he's coming right to left, and he's hitting the ball with his left foot.
Vega now rolls it into the top of the box once again. It's Kaike defending. He pokes it behind, off the foot of Diaz, behind for a corner.
I think the flag was up. Gutierrez a minute ago, what I was going to say is it's easy to sky that shot, but he hit it with such technical precision, put it just inside that left-hand post to the right of Sirois, and he hit it with such power that it was really by Sirois before he really got the dive going.
Sirois up towards Farrington, ends up on the ground. I think he's gotten the single call tonight, and that continues here, but Dallas win it back, and now Kamungo dribbling forward through the left center channel, fires a shot towards the near post and forces the save from Garcia. It'll be a corner.
Nice job there from Bernie Kamungo, probably his best moment of the night. Hasn't gotten forward with a lot of regularity from that left wing back spot.
He's up against three defenders. They just kept backing up and said, okay, I'll take the shot. Valiente will set up the corner kick from the near corner flag. The loudest of the Toluca fans and the red and white flags waving right behind the goal. They defend now. Scooped in towards the penalty spot, punched away. Ramiro, volley from the top of the box, deflects. Norris keeping it alive inside the area. And it's eventually cleared away. Ball up on this near side. Vega. Well, Vega has a different whistle than anybody else on the field tonight. He got one there from Bernie Kamungo. Called it himself, really, by just stopping playing. But there is something to be said, Steve, not necessarily for that, but for big game experience, and this Toluca team has that in spades. This doesn't even really register on the scale for them in terms of games of magnitude with the finals they've played in the recent years. Whereas on the Dallas side, I mean, this is the biggest stage for so many of the players. Bernie Kamungo involved in that last foul. One of them who have never stepped into an environment like this in a must-win game.
And you hope, the result turns over here for FC Dallas. But either way, it's a big moment for the players and a player's career. This is one of the games that I think a lot of them will remember. Certainly, a player like Bernie Kamungo or a young player like Nola Norris or Kaike. I think they're looking quickly at that little half-hearted appeal for a handball a minute ago.
They're holding the restart here for Eric Miranda, the assistant referee, to have a look. What could be a potential lifeline for Dallas.
It was a ball, I believe what they're looking at was a ball that Nola Norris sort of tried to flick up inside the penalty area.
Dallas are readying a triple sub at the next opportunity. Santi Moreno, Sam Sarver, and Christian Kappas at the ready.
And I know front of mind is getting 2 goals, difficult as that would be, to get back in this game. But you do at some point have to start thinking about Sunday against the Texas rival, Austin.
A restart play, no penalty. It's out for a Toluca throw. The halfway line on the near side, fired up the near sideline. Norris puts it out. Not sure why the Dallas subs aren't being allowed into the game here. They've been waiting there for about a minute or so now. Garcia with the ball in hand in the midfield for Vega. First touch forward, repelled away by Norris. Toluca win it back in the center circle. Pereira over to Romero. Fired through the middle of the field. Erigide wins it back well from Diaz, and now he drives forward himself up to the halfway line. He was tripped up, and it'll be a Dallas free kick. Erigide slow to get up. And now here come the changes for Dallas, but they may need to hold them with Osaze down.
And it looks like he, as he fell, what happened is he got hit on the head. Made contact with somebody's knee. Certainly don't need that, especially with Nola Norris not available for the next match, sitting out with a yellow card accumulation.
Ramiro, Johansson, and Petter Musa will be taken off here. Sarver, Kappas, and Santi Moreno in to try and make the difference. And imagine some kind of minutes restriction for Musa, taking him off in a situation like this. We start with a Dallas free kick just into the Toluca half. Kappas was the intended recipient of a pass from Kaike that was overhit off the free kick. And Kaike able to win it back well. And now Santi Moreno through the middle of the field, poked away from behind. Valiente's back onto it. Kaike quickly out to Sarver. First touches for him. Advanced on the Dallas right. Fires a shot up and over the bar. And Shaq Moore had gone bombing forward on the overlap. He was frustrated. Time and space for a shot there for Sarver. Toluca quickly restart play with both Sarver and Shaq Moore advanced out towards that far side where Vega receives it. He moves infield, hits a switching ball in the air. Brought down on the chest on the near side by Helino. 1v1 with Kamungo on an island. Helino to his right foot, lifts it in, headed away by Shaq Moore. Bouncing ball at the top of the box. Vega loses out to Santi Moreno, who goes down and wins a Dallas free kick.
One of the things we don't see the Leagues Cup referees do, the foreign referees, is sort of punish the kicking the ball away, delaying the restarts, things like that. That's more of a little bit more of an MLS thing.
Dallas played short to Kappas. We'll bring it past the halfway line. Tried to put the ball in behind for the run of Farrington, and did not make the run. It runs through for Garcia. Feels like if Dallas is going to get back in this game, they need something for that first goal to give them belief to dig deeper in this final half hour. Where it was a lucky deflection off the toe of the top scorer in the first half, Pedermusa. Could have been 2 if Farrington had the best chance of the game for Dallas. Chipped it up and over the bar. Nothing really to speak of so far in the second half. Helinho working in the wide area on the near side. It's given away by Garcia, scooped forward by Norris up towards halfway. Where Toluca will hammer it forward. Uriguide brings it down, sets it back to Sirois. Sirois closed down, just about got that one away. Up to Sarver, brings it down with a nice first touch. Left for Shaq, who splits 2 players, trying to work it forward to Logan Farrington. Couldn't find him. It's wide at the halfway line on the near side. Toluca in possession.
Just to reset, by the way, it's mostly like for like. Sarver, of course, goes right into that same spot Herman Johansson was playing. Kappas in for Ramiro in the central midfield. The only sort of adjustment is that Logan Farrington will now play up a little higher, with Santi Marino dropping in more or less into the position that Logan was playing before.
Good work from Farrington, forcing an errant pass out of play. Be a Dallas throw on the far sideline as Toluca now make a change of their own. Coming off Jorge Diaz. Played off the striker tonight for Toluca. And coming into the game, Pavel Perez. Looks like that'll be like for like as well. Dallas possession along the back line. Santi Moreno receives it at halfway, fires it forward through the lines, looking for Valiente, repelled by his countryman Pereira. And in the aftermath of a foul committed by Kamungo.
I like the idea. It's a kind of line-breaking pass that you don't see a lot from FC Dallas, as they tend to attack more in transition. Valiente making a good outside-to-inside run, almost got onto it.
Toluca working it through their own half, now up to the halfway line. Driving forward, here's the substitute Perez, getting it wide to the far side. Gallardo, low cross in along the top of the box. Perez sets it back into midfield. And there's a loose pass from Romero, gives it away to Kamungo. Will launch it forward, so much running to do for Logan Farrington, now leading the line. Whipped cross in from Toluca to the top of the box. Uriguide heads it away. Possession stays with the home side. Vega wide on the right, lifts it in towards Gallardo, over the head of Shaq Moore. Brought down by Gallardo. He's being forced wide and out of the 18. Played back up the line for Perez. The latest goal scorer, Eric Gutierrez, switches the point of attack across once again to the near side, where Garcia works with Vega. Gutierrez now returning with time on the ball. Lifts it out to Gallardo. Gallardo wide to the 18 on the far side, fires the cross in, and Helinho with the effort up and over the bar, but he got wrong side of the Dallas back line, just unable to make them pay.
Yeah, I think Uriguide, they're doing just enough to sort of interrupt the. Actually, I think Uriguide got on the ball.
Yeah, good spot. It will be a corner. So Saze with some important defending there to keep this a 2-goal game. Vega comes across to take the corner from the near side. Helinho joins in as well. We left this time for Vega. Whipped in low to the near post. Deflected away up to the top of the box for Valiente. Dribbles it clear, lifts it in behind. Kamungo going up through the gears, trying to track this one down, but Garcia always had the inside line. He works it back to Garcia, the goalkeeper.
Right, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm seeing some visible fatigue now from Dallas. Maybe it's physical fatigue, maybe just a little bit of an emotional drop. As you know, chasing 1 goal is one thing, but in that atmosphere, in the thin air, chasing 2 goals, that's something else.
Turning in midfield, Gutierrez again from the halfway line out to the left side for Gallardo. Matched up with Shaq in the wide areas. He fires it in to the top of the box, looking to turn. Viñas sets it back now. Shot from distance is just wide. Couldn't tell initially if Sirois got a piece of that from the substitute Perez, but it looks like he watched that one wide of the post.
Like it had Sirois concerned just for a second.
It will be a goal kick.
I think Sirois had it covered.
Sirois up towards Moreno. Tried to bring it down on the chest there, and loose touch maybe hit him in the face.
I think it got him in the chin, yeah.
Actually was completely uncontested, and Petter Musa or Logan Farrington would be jealous of the amount of time he had there trying to receive the long ball. Dallas trying to work it out of their own defensive end. Found Kamungo. Kamungo dispossessed by Helinho. Wide with Vega, who quickly plays it back into the middle of the field. And now here's Perez. Perez through to Vega on the near side. Low cross sent in. Shackmore sliding. Puts it out for a throw-in right next to the corner flag on the near side.
As good as the stadium is, the area right there inside the penalty area in the middle is getting pretty chopped up.
It has been rainy in the recent days. No rain tonight as they work it along the top of the box. Garcia has it cannoned off of him and spins behind for another goal kick. 3 changes made by Eric Quill. 1 for Antonio Mohamed so far. You look at the Dallas bench, not a lot left in terms of impact going forward.
Valiente was one a moment ago that I thought was just looking really leggy, and he's just coming off now.
Benjamin on in his place. Launched up to Moreno. Chested down for Kappas. It's ahead towards Farrington. Dallas trying to work it at full stretch. Eventually it's given away. Now Helinho sprints up the near sideline. Cutting inside of Kamungo, who comes away with the ball there, finding Kappas. Another night where, not at his very best, but Kamungo in those 1v1 battles up against a top-level winger in Helinho has been pretty solid.
I thought so too, Ryan. The other thing I'm thinking, though, is I'm wondering if he's the other one that you might want to get off, understanding how important he is as this match against Austin comes up.
Dallas should have Josh Torquato back from national team duty. He's really the like-for-like out there on the left wing-back position. As Toluca building up here through the Dallas half. Shackmore got a piece of the ball and worked it back to Norris. Dallas under pressure. Nice composure there through the defensive third. And it's eventually Santi Moreno who coughs it up just outside the center circle. Helinho now lines up a shot from distance. That one arcing wide of the near post. But the question being, would you want to throw Josh Torquato right back into the 11 after he's been away from the team for weeks? Despite playing well with the national team.
Which is why I think they might want to think about getting Burn and go off.
They have 1 change left after that last swap of Valiente and Benjamin.
Shot 17-8 in favor of the home team. 4-2 in terms of shots on target, which is not totally terrible for where Dallas sits. The problem is that 3 of those went in.
Free kick for Dallas. 15 yards into the attacking half on this near side. It'll be Santi Moreno lining it up. As Norris and Uriguide join the front line. Moreno, arcing ball in, right on top of the penalty spot. It's deflected up and over the bar by a Toluca defender, and that one had Luis Garcia all kinds of worried.
Well, I thought just for a second, I thought Kappas had position on his man, and I thought it was going to drop right in for him. Then it just sort of stayed up high on him.
Corner kick coming from the far flag. Moreno across to take it, looking for the ball which had gone missing for the moment. Now he sets it down. 5 inside the area, 3 waiting at the top of the box. As Moreno now on the approach, swings it in, and that one's going to be spilled by Garcia, and Benjamin tried to direct it towards goal with a back heel inside the 6. Eventually Toluca work it clear. 2 straight warning shots there for Dallas. As Garcia was perplexed. He didn't get a call, but it looked like to me he just dropped the ball.
I thought so too.
Benjamin, left center channel, pokes it wide towards Kamungo, and it runs out of play. That felt like Ron Benjamin not understanding the miles on the legs of Bernard Kamungo over the last week or so.
We just saw a replay. There's absolutely no contact. Maybe as Garcia comes down, the goalkeeper for Toluca, as he comes down, he sort of bumps into one of his own players, but he just dropped the ball.
It wasn't a bad effort from Benjamin. He got the back heel away with some power on it, just a couple of defenders in the way. There's another free kick for Dallas from a very similar spot to where Moreno just took one moments ago. If you missed the build-up to this game, a win means Toluca is guaranteed a spot in the quarterfinals, and that's where they stand now with a 3-1 advantage. Stern conversation right now with Viñas and Uriguide. Time is on the side of Toluca.
Yeah, at this point, anything Toluca can do to be disruptive, it plays to their advantage. Dallas just has to have the mentality of getting on with things.
Moreno readies another set-piece service. That will spread out across the top of the 18. Santi Moreno again with power in towards the penalty spot, headed away. Kamungo fighting for the second ball, comes away with it. Drop of the shoulder, now he makes his way up the left center channel. Poked wide for Benjamin, whose left-footed cross is blocked behind for a corner.
Well, Bernard Kamungo certainly hasn't been in a lot of big games like this, but I agree with what you said a few minutes ago. I think he's done okay tonight.
And these Dallas subs have given them something here. Another corner kick coming, this time from the near side for Santi Moreno. And that elusive second ball has emerged, being thrown back onto the pitch as Moreno readies this service. Wrestling inside the 6. Santi Moreno whips it in towards the near post. It's saved by Garcia. Back out to Moreno on this near side. Working with Kamungo as he retrieves the loose ball. Now Santi lines one up from distance, and that one is well over the bar. And there's immediately Dallas players sprinting towards the referee, appealing for something, as Uriguide was just American football tackled inside the 6. Gave away a penalty himself in the first half, and for me, that's a penalty. It's a corner kick taken towards the near post, right where Uriguide is making his run.
And unfortunately, I think for the way for the remonstration, he was just awarded a yellow card. But it looks like they're holding the ball for just a second.
I mean, it's a full-on tackle from behind, and the grappling and holding in set-piece situations and corners in particular has been in the spotlight globally, but I mean, that felt clear as day. And you're right, we saw the yellow card brandished towards Uriguide. It looks like play will continue without an on-field review. I'm very surprised by that. Maybe I shouldn't be.
Well, you look, it's the one thing that his game needs a little more maturity. You know, he's got to make his case without antagonizing the situation.
Gallardo off the left wing for Toluca. Up against Shaq Moore moving infield. He'll turn it backwards.
There have been other times when he's gotten silly yellow cards for, you know, running away with the ball and things like that. You just got to understand to keep his emotions a little bit more in check.
Norris stepping in front of Vega, winning it back for Dallas on this near side. Kappas immediately closed down in midfield. Sets it back Norris's way. Played up the sideline for Kamungo. Moving backwards. Just about got it to Norris. Oh, drops it off for Sirwa to send clear. Benjamin called for a foul, and from the angle we had, which is different from the angle the referee had, felt like a whole lot of embellishment from Helinho, who's down as Benjamin picks up a yellow card. Take a look now, both players with eyes on the ball. Okay, the arm got up there.
Honestly, Ryan, I think if that's just silly for Benjamin. I think if that happens to an FC Dallas player, we're wondering if it's a red card. He can't go in there leading with an elbow that way when he doesn't need to. And again, that's just Dallas needing to understand the situation that they're 2 goals down. That's not what they need.
Definitely saw in the replay a lot more than in the live time there from Ron Benjamin with the foul, as both teams will make another change. Nick Simmons is up for Dallas. And for Toluca, Susan Gulo will replace Federico Viñas, who got the goal really that completely shifted the equation in this game at the very end of the first half. A new signing for Toluca, putting some weight towards that transfer fee. Arce also on as well.
We talked about the Nolan Norris mistake on that goal, but it really was a good ball from Helinho on the right side, and a good run from Viñas, finding the gap between Herman Johansson and Shaq Moore.
It'll be Nicholas Simmons to replace Logan Farrington once the 4th official has the board programmed. Dallas bench not happy at how long it took for him to eventually hold up the wrong number on the board. Simmons is on. The final 10 minutes plus stoppage time.
Yeah, Farrington was already off, so it wasn't like the FC Dallas player was waiting to see if his number was going up on the board. I think that was a panic from the board man on the sideline.
Usually they have multiple boards, so you can sort of pre-plan this, but caught out there as Toluca hammer it long up into the Dallas half, where Guide will retrieve it. Kappas wide to Shaq Moore into the attacking half on the far side, played up the line for the run of Sarver. Sarver to the byline, trying to keep that in play, but it just runs out for a goal kick.
I think he tried to sort of run around the ball looking for the cross, but then he figured out, well, if I run around it, I'm not going to catch up to it, and that's exactly what happened.
A youthful look to the front line now for Dallas. Moreno behind Simmons with Sarver and Benjamin either side.
Again, they play out of the press. There's only really been once when it sort of hasn't worked out for them.
Kamungo will take a throw here just into the Toluca half. Threw it right to a Toluca player. And it's now with Gallardo on the opposite side. Set up the goal here in the second half. Jesus Gallardo, over 130 appearances for Mexico.
You know, it sounds a little funny, you know, when you've allowed 3 goals, but I don't think any of the 3 guys along the back line for Dallas, well, really, the 5-man back line, I don't think they've really had bad matches. Nolan's been pretty good, I thought. Osaze, besides the needless yellow card, has been good. Shaq Moore's done his job.
Not surprising in the way that you knew you were going to need a big defensive effort, and that may still not be enough, and that is where we stand now as Sarver's putting pressure high up the field here. And Toluca will switch the point of attack across to the near side. Garcia and Mendez up against Moreno. They'll drop it back for Luis Garcia.
Nolan Norris did make the mistake on that goal right before the break, but that's the thing with Toluca. It only takes one mistake. They've got such quality in the attack.
Just knocking it around at will here as we're in the final 10 minutes of the 90. Dallas trying to empty the reserves of energy and chasing here, but they've worked it out to Gallardo and into the attacking half, combining the wide area with Perez. Gallardo so often looks for that ball back to the top of the box, tried it there. Dallas able to sniff it out. Benjamin fighting for it, working up the far sideline, eventually dispossessed. Now driving forward, and Gulo finds Vega in the middle of the field. Cross to the near side for Brian Garcia, and Vega has it now, 10 yards outside the box, wide for Helinho. Dallas with everybody back defensively. Toluca with no need to go and find another goal in this game. Continue just to move the ball. Vega, loose touch. Moreno able to step in the way. Let there's no way out in possession for Dallas. It's in behind for Helinho, and Uriguide comes across, and he's still got something left in the tank. Wins the shoulder-to-shoulder battle there with the Brazilian. It'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, there's Benjamin that gave the ball away, and then we've seen Osaze Uriguide do that on the regular, where he just comes across from the middle, gets the body position there, gets those big tree trunk legs, and it's impossible to get around him once he gets that position on you.
Launched up towards Simmons, headed away by Mendez out to the near sideline. Garcia plays it up the line. The recent substitute, Fernando Arce. You
see Uriguide up close with those big tree trunk legs. It looks like a centaur, doesn't he?
Not somebody who you'd like to see running at you in any situation.
Producer doesn't know what a centaur is.
Well, we're in hell tonight, so any form of mythological beast,
good point,
is on the table. As we've been on this Odyssey adventure away from Toyota Stadium, now into the final quarter of that in total 12-game road trip, with Austin waiting on Sunday. Toluca in possession, really without any impetus to attack.
And I mentioned this is the fourth game for FC Dallas in 13 days with travel between each one, so that's tough.
Mungo whistled for a foul in the wide areas against Helinho, not pleased with the Brazilian's ability to buy a foul.
I would agree with every decision made tonight by Walter Lopez, but I think he's done a pretty good job of managing a match that was always going to be emotional and a little bit volatile.
Helinho takes it short for Angulo wide on this near side. He will switch the ball all the way across to Gallardo. Played ahead for Arce. Poked away from him and out for a Toluca throw. Throwing back to the halfway line now. Toluca will again probe on that left side. Out for a throw for the home team, and before that occurs, we'll turn our attentions back over towards the fourth officials board, this time correctly programmed, as Helinho will come off and Victor Guzman is on in his stead. Everardo Lopez, the other player, on for Toluca. Once the fourth official gets the board programmed, I sort of overestimated his preparation, and he still can't sort out the board, and it's getting all a little bit ridiculous. As the time ticks away, Vega is the player who will come off. Opening goal for him inside 10 minutes from the penalty spot. Just supremely influential in the final third. Both Helinho and Vega will come off here. For Toluca, they'll turn their attention to Atlante on Saturday, their return to league play. Toluca taking too long over the throw-in, and it turns over for a Dallas throw on the far sideline.
Don't see that too often.
Okay, it's going to move it back along the back line. All the way now to Sirois. Finds Uriguide inside the area. Head to Kappas, turning. Firing it out to the right sideline. Received there well. Kaike combining. Now Moreno into the middle. Leaves that one short of Benjamin. Kappas sweeping it, cleaning it back up. Moreno through the lines up to Simmons. Simmons wide for Sarver. First time ball back into the middle. Didn't find a teammate. Toluca just so comfortable in possession over this last 10-minute stretch. Now they'll run at the Dallas back line, maybe looking to add a fourth. Set wide to the far side with Shackmore defending. A sprint to the byline, left-footed cross dugout. Kamungo will chest it down well for Sirois. Quickly rolled out for Benjamin. Finds Santi Moreno. Turn and pass back for Osaze Arguide. Nice burst of speed for Osaze past the defender. Now he makes his way forward on the dribble up to the right side. Rolled in behind for Nick Simmons with Sarver waiting in the middle. Simmons with the cross out of the reach of Sam Sarver and through to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he needed a little more shape and a little bit more touch on that because Sam Sarver had moved into a pretty good position there.
Well, Osaze Arguide told us in the pregame, speaking with Garrett Milser down in the field, that he just wasn't going to think about the altitude and it wasn't going to affect him. At least physically, that has absolutely worked for him. He looks the freshest player on the field. So we're into 4 minutes of second half stoppage time.
He's also got a game high 16 defensive contributions. Just a little framing there. His fellow mates along the back line. Nolan Norris has 9, Shaq has 5. Those aren't bad numbers, but that just tells you what kind of a busy night Osaze's had.
And Sarver there, putting the pressure on the back line, commits a foul. Just late as Mendez released the clearance. Just caught him on the planted leg, and he'll pick up a yellow card. No carryover in terms of yellow cards between regular season and Leagues Cup play. As we've watched one of the 4 minutes added on tick away. This one heading towards defeat down south for Dallas tonight. And coming into the game, it felt like they had done the job of steadying the ship and getting the momentum back in their favor with 2 wins in Leagues Cup, setting themselves up for a chance going into Nemesio Diez tonight. You think it'll still feel that way coming away tonight? Dumping out of the Leagues Cup despite such a promising start to the tournament with those 2 wins.
And I mentioned a while ago, you talk about a Leagues Cup run, and it feels like a lot's happened because they open with a win, they go on the road and beat a good Chivas team, but it's all happened within 8 days.
Possession just on the top of the Dallas box for Toluca. Moreno, some good defending, got a piece of the ball. Benjamin dropping it back just out of the reach of Norris, who will track it down and send it out of play. And I think sometimes we go to the big boys in MLS, you go to LAFC away, Seattle away, those types of teams, and you feel like you're up against the high water mark, and Vancouver represents that as well for Dallas, where you're pushing yourself against the best the league has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight, a step even further beyond that, the best the continent has to offer. And some of those deficiencies certainly laid bare tonight. Sirois launches a goal kick forward, headed towards that final minute. Launched back Dallas's way. Norris got an important touch. Shaq just about kept hold of it. Capis fires it out to the right side. It wasn't intended for Kaique, but it hit him along the way, and now Toluca have possession. Advanced on the far side. Wide to the 18. It's a left-footed ball whipped in. Norris stooping low. Repels it out for a throw out the other way.
I mean, Norris he just looks like a veteran defender out there, doesn't he?
It was a night to grow, a night to learn. It was a night to dream coming into it. And just the 3rd ever visit to a Mexican team. Dallas were the first to ever win back in 2011 against Pumas. First MLS side to ever come away with a competitive victory in Mexico. Look to replicate that feat tonight, but came up just short as Moreno slips it in behind, looking for Sarver. It's going to run through for Luis Garcia, and that should just about do us as the 4 minutes have elapsed, and the night concludes at Estadio Nemesio Diez. Dallas drops this one to Toluca, 3-1. The reigning CONCACAF champions will move on in Leagues Cup. Dallas's run comes to an end in Phase 1. Win against Querétaro, a win against Chivas, but defeat the final game of this opening phase against Toluca means their run is done. A moment to hope when Dallas got the equalizer in the first half, but ultimately, Steve, it ends in defeat, and maybe it was just a step too far for this Dallas team at this point and where they're at.
Yeah, look, it's too bad. It was always going to be a tough lift, as we know that only 4 of 18 teams in Major League Soccer will make it. I think as you draw the lens back in the days ahead, they'll look at this Leagues Cup as a valuable experience. 2 wins against 1 loss. In the end, it just wasn't quite enough.
Tensions turn back to Austin on Sunday. We thank you for joining us late into the night tonight as Dallas heads down to Mexico and comes away with a defeat against Toluca. 3-1 your final score. So you've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
This is Logan Farrington, striker for FC Dallas. Behind every goal, there's a team you don't always see. The ones keeping everything running, secure, connected, ready. That's General Informatics. From cybersecurity to smarter IT solutions, General Informatics powers FC Dallas with advanced technology support so we can stay focused on the game. General Informatics. Complex IT made simple.
After 95 minutes at Estadio Nemesio Diez, it's Toluca 3, FC Dallas 1, as FC Dallas's run in the 2020 Leagues Cup has come to an end. Hello, everybody. It is the FC Dallas postgame show brought to you tonight by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you this evening by UMB Bank. See how UMB can help you achieve your business goals. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a moment by the voices of tonight's contest, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. But let's start first with your post-game highlights. The scoring started for Toluca in the 8th minute as Alexis Vega, their captain and Mexico national team player, stepped up to take a penalty after Osaze Uragide earned Toluca one with a hard tackle in the 18-yard box. He slots it by Jonathan Sirois. That made it 1-0 in the 8th minute in favor of the Scarlets. But then less than a minute later, one of the strangest goals of 2026 was scored by FC Dallas.
And now driving forward through the middle, Herman Johansson pokes it ahead to Musa inside the 18. Musa goes down with a challenge from behind. Now Ka'ike lines up a shot, deflected, and it spills past the goalkeeper and in. And Dallas have leveled things immediately with the pitbull strike from distance.
It actually ends up being Petter Musa upon replay as he deflects it, just kind of pinballs it in past the keeper. That made it 1-1 in the 9th minute, Musa's 14th goal of 2026, first in Leagues Cup action. But it wasn't to be, as on the stroke of halftime, Federico Viñas rifles one into the net after Dallas turns it over in their own defensive third. That made it 2-1 at halftime, and then Eric Gutierrez would make it 3-1 in the 50th minute, and that was all she wrote for FC Dallas as they end up with 2 wins and 6 points in Leagues Cup action here in 2026. Let's go ahead and get you your post-game stats. Those are brought to you by UMB Bank. Possession goes the way of the Red Devils, 72-28. 19 shots for Toluca, 5 of those on target. 10 shots for FCD, 3 of those on target this evening. You end up seeing 5 corners for the home side, 1 for the visitors. 2 saves tonight for Jonathan Sirois. Just 1 save needed for Toluca and Luis Garcia. 21 fouls for Dallas, 4 yellow cards. 11 fouls for Toluca, 1 yellow card. And those 4 bookings for FC Dallas end up being Ramiro, Osaze Urguide, Ron Benjamin, and Sam Sarver. So let's bring in our commentary team for this one. It's Ryan Figert. It's Steve Davis. And, lads, I think we'll save some of this for the FC Dallas agenda when we review Leagues Cup coming up. But I think if I had to boil this down into a very simple, compact sentence, Ryan, if I bring you the better team won tonight, how much are you going to push back on that?
Nah, I think it's clear. And I think we knew it going in, but the better team doesn't always win, so there's always hope and there's always optimism. And, Dallas knows how to play on the back foot. They know how to hit on the counter and defend deep, and they were certainly asked to do a lot of that tonight. But there's a reason that, this is now the 5th time that that Toluca have hosted an MLS team so far this season, and they've won by 2 or more goals in each of them. Dallas is just the second MLS team to score at Estadio Nemesio Diez this season. As weird of a goal as it was a game, ultimately, I think when you look back and reflect on it, that hinged on about 3 moments. And the first one is Osaze Urguide conceding the penalty in the opening minutes. It's one that maybe sometimes the referee would overlook early in the game. He opted not to on this occasion, but I think Steve called it well on the call, and that's he was just a little bit overeager, and maybe the environment and the atmosphere and the occasion got to him a little bit, because after that he was excellent, but in that occasion he just went sliding in when he didn't need to. He concedes the penalty. Now that moment gets wiped away as Dallas get a little bit of luck on the equalizing goal. The next big moment is Logan Farrington's miss. He goes in behind, really good ball played by Ramiro. It's the best chance created out of open play for Dallas in this game. It's one that we've seen Logan Farrington score. He's one-on-one with the goalkeeper, opts to chip it. Maybe with the elevation is at play as that one just rises up and over the bar. But that's a huge opportunity. Dallas can go ahead 2-1 there, and from there you've got really 2 goals of cushion, because you could concede to draw and still be okay. But that chance goes begging, and then it's the final seconds of the first half, and we saw the physical levels just dropping all over the field for Dallas. They gave it away one too many times in first half stoppage time, gave that last chance as the ball was played out towards Nolan Norris' side. He really tries to commit and sell out to get it, is unable to do so, and them scoring right on the stroke of halftime completely changed this game. It meant that they never really had to get out of 3rd or 4th gear in the second half. They just controlled it, made Dallas do the running, and ultimately they have a lot of experience winning big games, and they did it tonight, and it hinged on those big moments.
Yeah, I will say this about the one thing that bothers me about that best team construct. Clearly, Toluca is a great team and probably the better team. But one of the problems when we have that conversation is we always sort of forget that playing defense is part of being a good team as well. And having a good, solid back line, and having a good defensive system and good individual defenders, that also makes you that is something a good team does. Sometimes when we have that conversation about good team, best team, it's all about who's better on the ball, has better attackers, and that's certainly part of it too. But my point here is that yes, Toluca is the better team, but it sort of carries into the bigger conversation about Dallas having a really good Leagues Cup, and they weren't. If you look at it like that, like really good defending, they weren't that far away from Toluca tonight. I mean, shots on target were 5-3.
Correct.
Not bad when you're on the road and you're dealing with all the travel, when you're playing your 4th game in 13 days, and I know Toluca's had a busy schedule too, but we talked about how much they rotated. I guess all of this is to say it's a really good Leagues Cup run. For Dallas. It just doesn't maybe feel like it, number one, because they had an opportunity to do something tonight and they don't get into these hard-to-reach playoffs, and also because it talked about a Leagues Cup run, but it was a run in 8 days, so it wasn't like it was stretched out over 3 weeks. But I still think that they have something to be proud of here.
And I think it's also one when you look back, right, if this team can continue on the trajectory that they're on, this is a huge learning experience because ultimately, look, wherever this season goes from here, one of the goals is going to be to find a way into CONCACAF Champions Cup. And if they went into CONCACAF Champions Cup, I don't even know when that's being played. Is that being played during the sprint season? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. You're right.
Whenever it eventually happens.
Let's worry about that when we get there. Why don't we?
You wouldn't be walking green into some of these environments, right? They gained a lot of experience tonight for young players, and some of those young players showed well tonight despite coming out on the wrong end of the score sheet. So I think it's one that stings in the moment. It's one that hurts to walk away from because you had the chance going in to do something special. But it's one that in the long term, I think we'll look back and say they did well in this Leagues Cup play. They had probably the hardest schedule of any team, certainly the only MLS team that had to play away from their home stadium 3 times. It was an overall a tough task from the beginning. So to even take it down to the last day, I think was a job well done in this tournament.
And Sam, I think that's the other place I'm going with that. When you talk about this being an important tournament, but it being a valuable tournament, as Ryan just indicated, and it being in a lot of ways a good tournament because it's on my notes too. It's an important experience, not just experience, important experience for Bernie Kamungo, who I thought was pretty good tonight. For Nolan Norris, the one big mistake, notwithstanding, who was I thought was really good tonight. For Kaike, even guys like Kappas or Serwa, they're a little bit older, but I don't think they've been in a lot of games like this. I don't know what Kappas was doing up in Scandinavia, honestly, but I don't think he was facing too many, probably not a lot of bigger moments than that one. So that's all very important experience. And so I really do think when people look back on these 3 matches in Leagues Cup, I think they'll feel okay about it. They didn't get the job done tonight, and again, that sort of reframes it a little bit. But if they can just have a moment and sort of take the whole thing in, I think they can feel pretty good.
And I think that's kind of where I'm at now, because I think if you had said before the tournament you're going to get 2 wins and you're going to be into the last day going into Toluca, we all would have taken that.
The last half.
Yeah, even into about the last 40 minutes, you probably would have been there. But I think the impact of this game, obviously, in the short term is you don't advance in Leagues Cup. But I think there's a very real chance that this game's importance will come in November if Dallas is in the playoffs, in October if they're trying to play their way into the playoffs, and even into 2027 for the sprint or regular season, whichever one you want to put the more emphasis on, because it's all about that growth. There are no bad moments if you learn from those moments. And if we look back in a year and go, man, that was a rough night down in Toluca, but this team clearly grew from it and they got a lot from it, then it's absolutely a benefit, even if the immediate loss really does kind of suck.
Yeah, and I think we can also zoom out further and say, what did we learn about the team? What did they learn individually, but what did we learn about the team? And I think the biggest thing that stands out for me, and it's something that we've talked about on a couple of post-game shows since the World Cup, is they just need a guy in the middle of the field that can keep the hold of the ball and help them progress from the back half. We know Eric Quill doesn't want to take risks in the back half and sort of take unnecessary passes in their own 18-yard box and get themselves into trouble. But it was evident in this game. It was even evident against Chivas. It was evident against San Diego that in these games where you have less than 30% of possession, ultimately the odds are something's going to go wrong, right? And in this game it was conceding the penalty. It's giving up a goal on a shot from distance at the top of the box. It's sort of your legs giving out in first half stoppage time because you've been doing so much running defensively. That isn't going to be sustainable in the long term. They need to find somebody, whether it's internally, somebody raising their level, or as the transfer market continues to be open here, that can raise the level in midfield for this team. It was, it's always going to be laid bare. Your deficiencies as a team are going to be laid bare when you're up against a standard holder like Toluca, where when you look at their squad and you use something like Transfermarkt, every single one of their players would be a designated player in MLS, right? Up and down the roster, they're paying big transfer fees, they're being paid huge salaries. So the competition in terms of that way, you're always going to be up against somebody who, in theory, is better than you in your position for the most part.
It's a great point. We talk about Petra Musa and what FC Dallas went out to spend for him, and good for FC Dallas for that. And to your point, Alexis Vega is valued right about the same place as
and they just paid $15 million for the striker that scored tonight, Federico Viñas. That's $5 million more than the reported fee for Musa. This is the financial realities of this matchup. But as you go back into MLS where there's a more level playing field with what we're working with here, I still think that that's the one area this team could take a whole step forward, is if they added that quality holding midfielder in there. You don't want to be running Ramiro every single game. We know his importance to this team, and we know how much Kaike has done the running. Clay Holstead has come in. He's providing depth, but you need a top-line guy in there, in my opinion.
Well, I think, and this is kind of the important part, whether they, no matter where they spend the money, I think this is the big thing that Leagues Cup has shown. This group and this coaching staff is worth investing in, because
Absolutely.
I think you could make the argument that if they come in here and they, let's say they don't play well against Querétaro, but they still win, maybe a penalty, they go against Chivas and they lose, and they come in and they put up this exact performance, I could see the front office going, maybe next year, maybe this isn't the iteration we want to go into. But no matter how they do it, like Eric Quill and his bunch have shown the resiliency, the steel, and in cases, the actual results to say, we have proof of concept this project is working. Give us more resources, and maybe we won't be able to compete with the Tolucas right now, but we can come in and play with the Salt Lakes or the LAFCs or the Vancouvers, the upper crust of MLS.
Yep, I think that's a great point.
It's a really good point you make about specifically what the team needs, and we've talked on and on about the need for a good holding midfielder to screen the back line. Ramiro, I think, does a good job, but he's older, and we saw that he's got some physical limitations tonight. So if you sort of just look at the different if you look at the positions on the field in terms of goalkeeper, back line, midfield, and striker, Petra Musa, they've got –
Striker's loaded right this minute.
They're fine. Back line, we keep talking about how all these guys, they're doing well. But you're absolutely right. Right now, the midfield is where you see the team sort of just hanging on, just doing enough. And, tonight it wasn't enough. And there's a lot of games where it's not enough. There's Eric Quill always says we're not a team that can – we don't possess the ball, we need to play in transition. Well, I don't think that's the way Eric Quill really wants to play. I think he wants to have the ball a little bit more. But you're right, until you get the right guys in there, it's just tough. And credit to them for taking what they have and making it, doing what they can to make it work.
And I think, kind of playing on the same string, I think another thing we can say, in addition to this club is worth investing in, I think we can safely say, and I've been kind of thinking about this for the last, year and a half, I think Eric Quill is the coach for this squad long term. I think it's easy to get kind of overhyped on a guy after 1 year. I fully admit I did that after the last administration, even though I do think the world of Nico as a brain. Obviously, it didn't work out here. But I think you see what Quill has done now year on year, and you see not just the on-field results, which have been positive, but you see the culture building behind the scenes. We talked about that after the game at Mansfield against Querétaro. We see the kind of the edge and the instillment and the buy-in he's getting from his players. Even when the results are like this tonight, you don't feel like they're just giving up on the pitch out there, even when they're outclassed. Are they getting outplayed? Well, yeah, but that's because, Toluca is one of the best clubs, not just, in North America, but maybe the world when it comes to some of these things. But I think he has got just he has made a real solid case, especially in this Leagues Cup campaign, that long-term this will be his squad.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see some of the growth from individual players that he's bringing along, right? And Nolan Norris stands out to me with his performance tonight. Kamungo, I think, has really, think 18 months ago, Bernie Kamungo, and how frustrating of an experience it was to watch him learn a new position, fail really to learn the new position the first time when he tried to become a wingback. Think about how solid he is defensively one-on-one now. I mean, the growth for him individually has been really, really impressive. And then bringing in, these big signings over the last 2 years like Osaze or Guide to really marshal things back there. I think, Shaq Moore obviously has reached high heights in his career playing at a World Cup, but I don't think he has had a stretch of consistency like this, much less playing in a different position. I mean, he has grown as well. A lot of this is on the defensive side of the ball, and, going forward it's been about Petra Musa, but I think Eric Quill has really gotten every drop out of this back line, the back five, and we've seen each of them take a step forward ever since he took over.
Yeah, it is true about Bernie. I will also say, though, that one of the reasons they can't really play through the midfield is because that's not really Bernie Kamungo's game. He can't really do that. So I do think that they need somebody else that can play that position, because you really can't have one linchpin, a linchpin that's, barely played professional soccer, until he was – or barely played high-level soccer until he was 18 or 19 years old. You can't have him as a linchpin in terms of your tactical alignment. If Bernie Kamungo gets hurt tomorrow, well, they probably have to change. Go back to playing four in the back or something like that. So I would like to see them add something else over there. And remember, last year early, Eric was telling us that he wasn't playing Bernie, or was it the year before that it was Eric, I believe, that was saying he needs competition to push him.
Yeah.
And right now he doesn't have it. Now, right now he's doing okay, but how much better can he be if he has competition pushing him?
I know it's going to sound a little absurd, but it's actually something that Ryan brought up on during the broadcast. This might be a very ideal opportunity for Josh Torquato to show back up in the squad. I know he's young. I know that he is still growing himself, but he's having himself a heck of a U20.
But is he a wingback or is he really just a fullback?
That's the question that they'll have to answer long term. But at the very least, he has played some wingback, and that will give Bernie, because I don't. If you took out, like you said, if you took out Bernie tomorrow and you said we need to play with a left wingback, I don't know who that answer is. There's just nobody on the depth chart in that way, and that's just the way it is.
One of the other things we should mention here is that with Musa's goal tonight, number 14, as we sort of keep on the records chase with him, I think it was Ryan or Garrett that did the quick research. Petra Musa and Jason Christ both have 19 goals in all competitions, seasons with 19 goals in all competitions. So we all know that number, that the regular season goals record, 18, that everybody is stuck at, Christ, Cooper, Ferreira, and Petra Musa. But the all competition record is just one more than that, 19, and so Musa creeping up on that as well.
And keeping the conversation in the front line, I think an interesting one for the room here. Logan Farrington, great impact against Chivas. Came in, did the job, scored the goal with a really, really nice piece of play in the finish. But it's now 2 times in a row where Musa and Farrington have started together, thinking back to the Galaxy game where they get shut out. Tonight they get the goal. It's sort of an inadvertent goal. They all count. They all count the same, and that one will count for Petra Musa. But really ineffective going forward, and this was obviously a tough task no matter what, more so than the Galaxy game. But going forward, is the front two, going to be the answer for this team? It was early in the season. That duo was fantastic. Their chemistry was crucial to how the team attacked, but it seems like Farrington's best work has actually been off the bench as we come out of the World Cup break. Which
is not a big surprise. I mean, we've always liked seeing him come off the bench, and Eric Quill likes him in that role as well. And as far as the attack tonight, I don't know. Logan Farrington did not have a good game, but I would say that it was the attack in general, not just the front line. Because really until Santi Marino comes in and he plays 2 pretty good balls, line-breaking balls. I mean, who else? Ramiro did play in Farrington for the one big chance, but it's the attack just unless this team is attacking in transition, it just doesn't. It mostly doesn't work.
I think that might be, something that was shown tonight with Farrington and his performance was that maybe the next step for him in terms of his growth as a player is, can he use his frame a little bit more to hold up play? And look, Pereira and Mendez tonight, those would be best 11 MLS center backs, and you're up against 2 of them in the same night, and their physicality, it jumps off the screen when you're watching them. And this was about as tough of a matchup as you could draw. That said, I don't remember more than one time where Farrington kept hold of the ball in an aerial battle or a ball up to his feet. That might just be the next step of his growth. I mean, he's still a relatively young pro coming out of the college game, and he's shown so many great qualities. Maybe that's one that he can still continue to work on.
So go ahead, Steve.
I would say the thing that, yes, absolutely. The other thing is just a little bit more consistency, and sort of playing into consistency and holding the ball as well, but consistency in finishing, because we thought this year what he needed to do was just be a little bit sort of increase that bottom line production, right? A few more goals, a few more assists. Well, he's en route to do that. But can he be a little bit more consistent now with the finishing?
I would agree with everything that y'all have just said, and I think this is probably not – if you were putting on a display for Farrington or even Musa tonight, this is probably not going to be one for the highlight reel. But I would say two things specific to this one. One, I think the line between bad and okay was the one miss there for Farrington. Even if he has the same exact game and he puts in that goal, we're like, okay, yeah, he did this, but
that's
he did
the life
score.
Of a striker,
but that's it. I was just about to say that. That's a striker.
That's the life of a striker, and that's what he's chosen, being in the position. And 2, I think the thing I'd like to see for Logan isn't so much playing time necessarily. I'd like to see him settle into what they want him to be, if that makes sense. Because obviously when Musa and he are out there together, Musa is he's the big dog. Like we know we called Logan that, but he's the A1 striker. And that makes Logan, I guess, like a support striker. Does he need to play more as a winger, a number 10? Like he has kind of this ambiguous role. And what I think I would like to see Dallas do is play them together, but really get that solid number 10 under them, that true creative playmaker. And I like Santi Moreno a lot. I think he's been a positive asset for the club. I just don't think he's been the exact right tool when it comes to production and even quality that they need to make that pairing work. Now, if they're not going to do that, then yeah, I think there's a chance that maybe Musa starting and Logan coming in for the last 30, 35 is the correct answer. But I still just don't know that even though his production has been really strong and has grown every year, that we still have the best role when Musa and Farrington are playing together.
That's the reality of the roster, and maybe they had hopes for Logan when they drafted him, but they had also just signed Petar Musa, and so it was sort of just a funny timing. And obviously, it's gone on to be great. They've gone on to become great friends and roommates on all these road trips and scored goals and assisted each other. But that's just going to be the reality: is that Logan Farrington is going to play second fiddle to Petar Musa, and that. But honestly, I think it suits his game, and because, like I said, I don't think he's fully developed on the ability to hold up play as the number 9 like we've seen Musa do. Now, Musa tonight also struggled against these same two center backs, but I think Farrington is best coming off the striker and creating in that way. And in the games where he's at his best, I think that is the role that really suits him. The one thing I would say, too, as I've been kind of critical of the two guys up top in terms of hold-up play, you got to have bodies around them to win the second ball, because sometimes it's about just bringing it down just enough for one of your teammates that's in close proximity to come away with possession, and not you in particular. It's tough to hold off the defender, bring it down, and play a pass. It's a little bit easier to hold off the defender, chest it towards a teammate, head it towards a teammate, and that's a numbers game. And in this formation, and particularly tonight when it's not really 3, it's 5, you've got guys that are nowhere near that contested long ball, and it's just a numbers game where you don't have bodies around the ball to try and contest those second balls. So just wanted to be fair to those guys and understand that there wasn't a lot of support around them when it was launched up their way.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the next evolution of this squad under Eric Quill. FC Dallas 3.0 under him is how do you find that consistent go forward with those two guys? Whether it's the wingbacks, whether it's the midfielders, somebody else. It can't just be those two, because we saw what happened with that tonight, and it just didn't quite work out. One last thing I want to tackle before we get on out of here. We've kind of been following Days of Our Lives goalkeeper edition since Daniel got hurt. Sirwa has 2 saves officially tonight. He does concede 3 goals, and I'm sure the goalkeeper's room will say anytime you concede 3 goals and lose, it's not a good night for the man between the sticks. I'm just going back and looking at the goals. I'm not totally sure what he could have done to prevent those goals based on what I saw. Sometimes it's just a tough night at the office.
Yeah, penalty kick, back post stick away, and then a really well-placed shot. Maybe that's the one that an elite goalkeeper playing it really in good form could have gotten to that one. But, I'm not blaming Sirwa for anything tonight.
Yeah, I think it's still his job to continue
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe that changes in Austin, as that is the next game for this squad. Leagues Cup is over, so we will return to MLS play after pausing MLS play. I know you got to have scorecards to keep track of this, but it is MLS play again, and it's Sunday night. Dallas gets one more day off than they would have initially had, as MLS led this to move this game to Sunday night soccer. So it'll be a primetime 7:30 matchup with hopefully a lot of folks watching, because it's going to be a cool scene at in Q2 on Sunday. It's a 7:30 kickoff scheduled, and we will actually be there, so it'll be live on the FC Dallas Radio Network from Q2 Stadium in Austin. Pre-game with myself will start at 7. Ryan and Steve will have the call at 7:30. Of course, that will be on the Burncast on YouTube and on the FC Dallas app, like always. But that's going to do it for tonight's post-game show. FC Dallas's Leagues Cup ends 3-1 at Toluca tonight. They end up with 6 points, but outside the elimination zone. You've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota, here on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
The preceding broadcast has been a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
You push your body hard in the name of fitness. Sure, it's for a good cause. But a good cause shouldn't mean sacrificing a good time. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Want to hear something incredible?
The treatments are over, the infusions are done. Now you can get back to all the kid fun. We'll miss you lots, but you'll be happy to know chemo is over, so it's time to go.
At Children's Health, we're making groundbreaking advancements in cancer treatments every day to bring more healing and more hope to families. Innovative treatments filled with hope. That's incredible together. Learn more at childrens.com.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games, plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
God, I'm saying wow.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4.